for vet bills and the cost of 2 Bengal kittens.
Court come to order.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1143, Arthur Hughesby versus Taylor.
Hughesby.
Yes.
Your complaint is a relatively simple one. You claim that Mr. Taylor is responsible for all of your cats getting ringworm and being sick. You want him to pay your vet bills and a whole bunch of other things, $10,000 worth.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Taylor says he felt a certain amount of sympathy for you initially when you told him you had extensive vet bills because he sold you 2 kittens.
Yes.
Did he ever pay any of the vet bills early on?
Yes.
How much did he pay?
The approximate number, I don't know, but I can tell you it's around $1,200.
How much money did you pay?
I believe 13 something.
You bought 2 kittens for him on what date?
May 24th, 2021.
And they were Bengal kittens.
Yes.
How old were they on May 24th?
About 11 weeks.
By the time they're 11 weeks old, they usually get some shots.
Yes.
Had you given them any shots?
Yes.
Which shots had they gotten?
I don't recall exactly what it is, but it's called a 4-way. They receive a 4-way of shots. It's 1 shot.
Do you remember how old they were when they got them?
I give them at 7 to 8 weeks.
How many kittens were there in the litter of these kittens? Because you had the litter, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe there was 4.
And how much did Miss Hughesby pay for the 2 kittens that she purchased?
$1,500 a piece.
So she paid $3,000.
Correct.
And you have both parents.
Correct.
How long have you been in the breeding business?
10 years.
When the plaintiff purchased the kittens, was there a contract?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you took them home on the 24th of May.
Yes.
You had other cats at home. What other kind of cats did you have at home?
1 Bengal, 1 years old, and 1 calico, 10 years old.
Now, the Bengal that was a year old was a male.
Yes.
Neutered or not?
No.
So you planned on breeding the cats
Yes.
because you bought 2 females.
Yes.
Is the calico an indoor cat or an outdoor cat?
Indoor cat.
And what about the Bengal?
Indoor. He's been let out a couple times, but not on purpose.
But he's both indoor and he goes outside and comes back.
He just escaped a couple times, so he's indoor. He's indoor.
I'm just letting you know that I'm familiar with Bengal cats.
Okay.
And they like it outside. They like to prowl. That's in their DNA. After the 24th of May, when did you take the kittens to the vet?
It would have been the 29th
Show me.
that I brought them to the vet.
Show me the May 29th.
I brought the kittens to the vet, and they were...
I have to see
Okay.
the vet's record.
Okay.
You can't tell me what anybody told you.
Okay.
You have to show me the vet's record. They're a business record.
Okay. Your Honor, I have the next record that states about the previous
Just a
record.
second, and I'll see what you have.
Okay.
So you didn't bring the record of May 29th?
No, but
Just a second.
No.
When did you take them to the vet after the 29th?
7/11.
So a month and a half later?
Yes.
Yes, all right. I'm going to take a look at that, please.
Okay.
Kevin.
There's several of them. I'm just going to grab them all for you.
No, don't grab them all. 7-11.
No, that's all for that date because it's every single cat.
No, I don't want every single cat. I want the 2 kittens.
Okay.
Jade hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Okay, so about a month and a half later,
Yes.
the 2 kittens, as well as your cats, had ringworm.
Yes.
And
And I have the positive ringworm results, but there was another medical problem that I have the other
he's not
documents for.
responsible for their ringworm.
Okay. The other medical problem they had, when I purchased the kittens, they were sick, and I have the photos and the documents from the vet.
Well, let me ask you this question, Ms.
Yes.
Hughesby. They had colds, according to what I read here in the doctor's notes.
Yes.
And I believe that the defendant acknowledges that he said to you, they have colds. Is that correct?
Yes.
So when you took the kittens to the vet,
Yes.
and I say this to you as somebody who is very familiar
Yes.
with cats, having at one time in my life, probably during a psychotic episode, I'm only teasing about that, had 6 cats, Persians and Himalayans.
Yes.
And that was 30 years ago, until my immune system crapped out on me and I couldn't be near cats anymore because these were all long-haired cats. So I'm going to tell you a story so you'll understand where I'm coming from. These were purebred that we bought sort of one at a time. We bought a silver-shaded Persian, we bought a Persian, we bought a Himi, a seal point Himi, and a blue point Himi, and we loved those cats. We could run home, work lunchtime, we'd leave court in the Bronx and run home to our apartment and check on the cats and make kittens and make sure that they were okay. We lived in an apartment, so they never went out. We had them, I don't know, about 6 months, 7 months, and they all developed ringworm. No, I didn't have ringworm. And my husband knows if he'd had ringworm, he'd be living in another jurisdiction. And I remember going to take the cats in their carriers to the vet, all 6 of them, one Saturday morning, and it was pouring outside. And here we took such good care of these cats. I cooked for them. There was one small one that didn't like to eat with the rest of the cats, so she ate up on the counter. A little white, beautiful kitten. And I fed her because she would be standoffish. And the larger ones wouldn't let her get her share. So these were spoiled cats by 2 older people who were almost empty nesters. That's what happened. You're not there yet. And we're leaving our apartment building carrying, each one of us has carrying cases with a couple of kittens, a couple of larger cats. And you could see the ringworm around here, you know, little spots, it starts to lose hair. Is that what happens with ringworm?
Yes.
And jumping from one garbage can to the other in front of our apartment building was this alley cat with a sleek coat. Nobody took care of it. It took care of itself. It went from garbage can to garbage can, got what it needed to eat, lapped up water when it needed to lap up water from the rainwater, found someplace dry to sleep, I assume, because it didn't have a collar on, but it was sleek and healthy. I stopped looking at it because it was looking at us. It could see the kittens through the thing, so it stopped and it opened up. They had beautiful green eyes. And I said, I don't understand this. We take such good care of our kittens. How did they get ringworm?
Jade's lips tremble. Caption coming up.
I said, if they have this disease, can I get my money back? And he said, if they have that disease, then he could put them down and give me new kittens and never offer to give my money back.
Jade's eyes fill with tears. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jade and Jeffrey.
Jade Arthur Hughesby claims cat breeder Jeffrey Taylor owes for the cost of vet bills after selling her 2 Bengal kittens with a serious illness.
Okay, you had these kittens for a little over a month and a half until they were diagnosed by a vet with ringworm.
Yes.
And when you took the kittens, they had a cold. You took them on the 24th. You don't have the records from the 24th.
Your Honor, I have a different record that states the day that they came in a few days after the 24th, that they were previously seen on that date, because I kept bringing the kittens in every few weeks and once a month because of the colds. So I don't have the first one.
And you don't have the first one. What I'm asking you is, when you took them in,
Yes.
and you notified Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
his response was initially for the cold, I'll pay for those bills. And he did give you $1,300 towards those bills.
Yes.
Which you accepted.
Yes.
Did you at any time at the beginning, the first time you took them to the vet and the vet said they had a cold, say to Mr. Taylor, even though we don't have a contract, I'm prepared to take the kittens back and give you your money?
I did state, yes.
When? On what date did you say that to him?
About the 28th, so it's about the middle of the week.
May 28th.
Yes, not even a week
Okay.
after I purchased the kittens.
Just a second. And on May 28th, what did the defendant say to you? That they have a cold, their cold isn't getting better?
It wasn't a cold, it was a respiratory infection.
Okay. And he paid for that?
Yes.
Okay.
And
so he paid for that. Did you say, or did he say, give them back? Or did you say, I want to give them back? You take care of the respiratory infection.
yes, I'm going to tell you exactly what I said. So
I'd like to hear it.
the vet had told me.
You cannot tell me, listen to me. You cannot tell me anything that the vet said to you. If you have records, business records, like I just read from the vet, I will see them.
Yes.
You cannot tell me what the vet said to you. You can tell me what you said to the defendant, and the defendant said to you on the 28th of May.
Okay, I do have it in the note from the vet that I mentioned to him. The vet said that. Okay.
That's not happening.
Okay.
That's not happening, Ms. Hughesby.
I mentioned to him that they possibly might have a viral disease. I said, if they have this disease, hopefully, they don't, maybe it's just a cold, can I get my money back? And he said, if they have that disease, then he could put them down and give me new kittens and never offer to give my money back.
Just a second. So he said to you, if they have that disease, they should probably not be bred, right?
Correct.
Which is what you bought them for. And I will take them back, I'll put them down and give you new kittens. Just a second. And you rejected that because we're now at the end of October and you still have the kittens, right?
Yes, but you can't put them down
just
for
a
that.
second. Just a second.
It's
You
not
can?
a
Just a second.
life-threatening disease.
Just a second. If it's not a life-threatening disease, Ms. Huseman, you have to pull yourself together. It's not a life-threatening disease, but you wouldn't want to breed kittens that have that.
Exactly.
So he said to you, if they have that disease, I will replace those kittens, even though he doesn't have to, because you don't have a contract with him. But he said that to you. You chose not to do that, just out of my own curiosity, because there is no contract other than she bought kittens, she took them home, you paid for the first round of respiratory illnesses for the kittens. Did you get the results of the tests for those kittens? Do they have that disease?
Yes.
Okay, so you cannot breed them.
No.
Can I see the results of that test?
Yes. There's one more result too. 1 second.
I just want to see.
Here they all are. And they gave it to my older cat too.
So it's a communicable disease. It's not a disease that's in the DNA.
It's in the blood. So that's how they test it.
Shh.
Judy examines Jade's documents.
They had a virus.
It's
a virus.
It's a herpes
It's a virus.
But you can't get rid of it. It's medically proven you can't get rid of it.
I don't know that.
Your Honor, I have one more that states, because the doctor, without blood testing them, said this is...
You cannot tell me what the doctor
I have
said.
it in here.
If you want me to read a report, I will read a report.
This is before they blood tested it. On the second page...
I'm a reader. That's what I do.
From Kevin, Judy receives another of Jade's documents.
Okay, so?
It was stating, because I brought in for the respiratory, they put notes in there like, you know, that it has the herpes and that hopefully they will improve. So that was before I got it blood tested, but they knew from looking at it, like, since I bought it, it had all the symptoms.
You cannot tell me what they thought, what they knew.
Well, later on it did test positive.
It also said in there, and I know that you're upset, and I don't minimize the fact that you're upset and that you are attached to these kittens now. You bought these 2 kittens without a contract. You took them home knowing that they had a cold. If I went and bought an animal and the animal didn't look right to me, I would say, you know what, I'm not taking this animal home. It doesn't look right to me. But you decided to do that. The defendant, who's been in the business for 10 years, said to you, they have cold. That's what I see.
He didn't voluntarily say that.
Well, you saw that. That's what you said in your complaint.
Yeah,
okay?
But he acted like,
just
it's nothing. I see it all the time.
Just a second. That's all right. You're buying a product. Your product is 2 kittens. It's just like if you went and bought a car. And when you started it up, it started to smell a little bit. And the person who was selling you this car, it says, oh, they always start up and they smell like this. It's until the oil burns off. Well, if you want to accept that explanation and take the car home, that's your problem. You smelled it, you saw it. The person who's giving you said, well, it's not really a problem. And it may not be a problem, but 6 months later, it turns out to be a problem because there's an oil leak. That you don't have a contract with that person unless you do, in fact, have a contract with them. That there's a certain amount of time that you have to take the kittens to be checked by a vet. And if within 10 days, and I've seen those contracts thousands of times, you didn't have that. You happen to have what I perceive to be a legitimate breeder who said to you, I feel badly that you have to take the cats in for this respiratory problem, and I will pay that vet bill. But then when they develop ringworm and you have other cats in the house, a month and a half later, that was a persistent problem. According to what I read, he's not an insurer of your cats.
Your Honor, the ringworm came up a week later. I have receipts for stuff that I bought at home because I tried to treat it before I brought them to the vet.
It still doesn't make him responsible.
And I went to the courts where we live, and I got the paperwork. They said it was illegal for him to sell it to me without that.
You can't tell me what anybody said to you. That's hearsay.
Jade trembles. Caption coming up.
He never said my cats also had ringworm.
But he paid the bill. Why'd he pay the bill if he didn't think he was guilty?
Maybe he was just a nice person and he felt sorry for you.
Jade shakes her head. The courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jade and Jeffrey.
Jade Arthur Huseby has accused cat breeder Jeffrey Taylor of selling her 2 Bengal kittens infected with a virus. Jeffrey says he offered to take the kittens back, but Jade refused.
Okay, what I'm telling you is you don't have a contract with him.
The state we live in, they said it's illegal to sell without a contract and to sell while it's sick.
Okay. You have to be able to establish that the defendant knew that these cats were sick. That's number one. I'm going to ask him a question. Sarah's going to look it up. Where do you come from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. What county?
Anoka County.
Anoka County. Look up Anoka County sale of domestic animals. There were 2 other kittens in this litter. Sir,
Yes.
were any of your cats treated for ringworm?
No.
Did either of the two people to whom you sold the two other kittens report to you that their kittens had ringworm?
No.
But, Your Honor, he told me on the phone, oh, my dad had the ringworm because his dad helps him with the kittens. Just put some shampoo and buy some cream. I told him that a week later. Because a week later the ringworm came up, and I bought stuff to treat it at home, but it wouldn't get rid of it.
Just a second. Miss Hoosby, he's not an insurer of your kittens.
But
you have one
he
cat
knew.
that goes.
He said they had it over there. Now he's saying that they didn't.
Well, just
Your
a
Honor?
second. Did he ever what? Did he tell you when your cats were diagnosed with ringworm that his cats were diagnosed with? Just think about the answer to my question.
No.
He never said my cats also had ringworm.
But he paid the bill. Why'd he pay the bill if he didn't think he was guilty?
Maybe he was just a nice person and he felt sorry for you. But he's not paying you $10,000. That's ridiculous. Unless you can establish to me, and I don't know what the law says.
So there is a law that no animal may be offered for sale by a broker or pet dealer until the animal has been examined by a vet, and the rights of the purchaser if within 10 days after receipt of the animal by a purchaser, a veterinarian states in writing that the animal has a health problem that existed at the time of purchasing. They should have 2 business days to inform the breeder and return the animal.
And return the animal. Okay, so you took the kittens, according to you, within that 10-day period to a doctor.
Yes.
And you informed the defendant.
Yes.
And you informed him within 2 days.
Yes.
And at that time, did you ask to return the kittens?
At that time,
The answer is either yes or no.
yes, after the visit.
After the visit, and what did he say to you?
If they have that disease.
No, not if they have the disease. We're not talking about that disease. We're
Okay.
talking
Well,
about
I told
the
him,
cold.
yes.
We're
Okay.
talking about the cold. You accepted payment of him for either $1,200 or $1,300 for treating them for that cold and upper respiratory infection.
Yes.
That's the way you resolved the issue,
Yeah.
because you didn't want to return the kittens.
I asked him about getting my money back for the kittens, which obviously I'd return the kittens and get the money back. No, if they are diseased, then we will put the cats down and I will give you new kittens.
And you said no.
Yes, you can't do that.
Okay.
You can't
Okay.
put the cats down for that.
Okay. You have the kittens now?
Yes.
How are they?
They still have respiratory problems. I just brought them in last week.
They're sick.
And I keep giving them the medication. It's because of the disease. It causes viral respiratory problems.
What do you want to do, Miss Huseby? What would you do? Would you return the kittens to the defendant and say, I'm giving you the kittens. If you're going to put them down, put them down. I want my money back. My question is that what you want to do? I'm not saying that that's what I will do. I'm just asking you, is that what you want to do?
No, they diseased all other cats in the house too.
Well,
I can't just get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? All my cats are diseased. I mean, I'd have to get rid of all my cats.
And what I'm telling you is you have no proof that it's his fault.
From the day
No.
I brought them home, they had symptoms of the disease.
Madam, he says that his kittens and his cats were not treated for ringworm on or about the time that your cats developed ringworm. So if the kittens brought the ringworm into your house, that means they had to bring them in from his house because they never left his house. But it's possible that your Bengal that does go outside brought ringworm into the house. I don't say it happened. I think it was very nice of him, absent a contract, for him to pay the vet bill for the respiratory
He
illness.
wasn't
He's
pleasant. He wasn't pleasant like he was saying.
I didn't say he was pleasant. I said pay. What did she say? He wasn't
He wasn't pleasant.
pleasant. He doesn't have to be pleasant. You paid him $1,500 for a kitten. He's not an insurer of your entire cattery.
But he sold me a diseased
We're
cat.
done. Thank you very much. Your case
Court
is
is adjourned.
Jeffrey, then Jade.
I felt that I went above and beyond and took care of the issues that she had with the cats at the beginning, which I didn't have to do. I hope they do have a good home, and I hope they're taken care of, and I think that she will take care of them. She does seem pretty passionate, so.
Sarah and Judy.
You know, I remember that story about you and Poppy taking all of the cats in their carriers back to the vet and seeing that stray cat. And I sympathize with the plaintiff because I understand that she was in a tough moral position. She doesn't want to return the cats knowing that they're going to be put down for this disease, but she doesn't want to keep diseased cats in her home. So I understand, but it's a tricky spot to be in. And sometimes the alley cats, no matter how well you take care of your cat, come out on top.
They're strong.
Yeah.
That's what we call Poppy. We call him an alley cat. Yes, I did feel sorry for her, but there's a good legal lesson. When you buy an animal, you're supposed to have a contract, and the contract should provide that you have a certain amount of time, days, to take the cat to a vet and have the vet make a diagnosis. And if the diagnosis is such that the kitten, you feel as if the kitten or the dog or the puppy is sick, You have 5 days in which to return the animal for a full refund or replacement at either your option or the seller's option. That's a clear contract. Here, she paid $1,500. There was no contract. She saw that the kittens had runny nose and eyes. She took them anyway.
For property damages and lost revenue.
Court come to order.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches Judge Judy.
Hello, Judge.
How are you, Kevin?
Good. Case number 1142, Wisman versus Hartley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Wisman, you have a business in renting jet skis?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you had the business?
April 2021.
What did you do before that?
I was in the military and I work in missile defense also. That's my full-time job.
So this is sideline.
It is.
Did you buy equipment?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you buy?
I have 3 sets of jet skis.
When was the first time you purchased jet skis?
September of 2020.
What kind?
Sea-Doo watercraft
Were they new or used?
used.
How much did you pay for them?
$7,000.
What year were they?
One's a 2006, one's a 2008.
Take a look. And you had 3 sets, you said.
Correct.
When did you buy the second set?
The second set I bought in April of this year, 2021.
Were they also used?
Yes, ma'am. 2006 and 2008.
Also Sea-Doos?
One's a Sea-Doo, one's a Yamaha.
How much did you pay for them?
$14,500.
What was the difference?
The market,
Fascinating.
Yeah,
That's
everything was going
fascinating.
a lot higher than Blue Book value.
Because they couldn't get parts and stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
No, car manufacturers have the same problem. So you paid double for pretty much the same thing.
Pretty close.
And when did you buy the third set?
July of this year.
And what did you buy?
They're actually 1997s. I had a friend who had them in storage and just wasn't using them and asked if I wanted to use them in
And
my
they're
rental
still working?
business. No.
No.
No, I got them. They had been sitting for a couple of years and they weren't running and they're still with the mechanic.
They're still not
They haven't
running.
been used at all.
How much
this
did you
summer.
pay them for those?
$1,000.
Oh, not bad.
No.
Okay. So the ones that you rented to Miss Hartley were the ones that you purchased in April of 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that you returned them damaged.
Yes.
And the defendant said, well, they may have hit a rock or two, but nothing serious. Is that your answer?
No.
Well, did I make that up? I don't know. Just
No,
a
so
second.
there were some
Just a
rocks at the
second.
lake.
Hold on 1 second.
So for 2006 Sea-Doo, depending on the model, it looks like they range between $7,000 and $11,000.
For 2006?
Yes.
So you got a bargain in 2020.
Yeah, when I bought them, the Blue Book
Originally.
value was a lot lower though too.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. I thought that you indicated here that, yeah, you may have anchored them someplace, they may have hit a rock or two, but they
There were
weren't.
some rocks at the lake, but not that I had run into any rocks.
No, I didn't say you ran into a rock. I didn't say you ran into a rock. I thought it said that you sort of anchored them and then you went doing something and they may have hit up against a rock. Isn't that what you said?
I mean, maybe I misunderstood you, but I didn't ride up against on rocks.
No, I didn't say that you rode against a rock. Did you indicate to the plaintiff that when you had the jet skis out, you had anchored them? They did have anchors?
Yes.
You had anchored them and maybe gone for a swim, gone for whatever, and they may have hit from a wave, from a current, they may have hit against a rock.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that's not something that you think about, like, you know, the baby burped on my jet ski. That's, oh my goodness, I anchored it too close to rocks. And I heard it hitting up against the rock, so you heard it.
No, I had it anchored up at a boat dock, of which is really where they should be, right? Have them on a boat dock. So there are rocks around the lake, but not that I was allowing them to repeat and hit against rocks or that I was hearing them against any rocks. We checked on them throughout the night. They weren't really moving very much. They seemed very okay. Wasn't very windy.
Do you have photographs of them?
I do.
I'd like to see them.
Jeremy hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy.
Miss Hartley, when you took the jet skis, what color were they?
So the jet skis were supposed to be red ones. That was the ones that we discussed when you picked out. That's the ones that was listed online.
The red ones, sir, are the ones from 2020?
Yes.
The ones that you used were the ones that you purchased in 2021?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any reason that you switched them?
I believe they had broke from the previous rental.
The ones from 2020?
Yeah, they were in the shop, so I had that set left. And when we did discuss it, I wasn't 100% sure whether it was going to be the red ones or the ones I had just...
Doesn't matter 100% sure or not.
Your Honor, if
Well,
I may
that's-
speak, that's not what he had said to me on the day that we met.
What did he tell you?
So that day, I viewed the Sea-Doo and I viewed the Yamaha, and then he says the red ones were out, rented, had not been brought back yet. That the Sea-Doo and that the Yamaha is not what I would be taking out because they had rock sucked up in them, water sucked up in them. He still had to go through and clean it out from people that dropped it off, left it damaged with him. And then when I went and picked up and paid the rest of the amount to take jet skis out, these were the ones that he sent with me. So since he changed his mind on that, and these were what was sent out with me, I presumed that they were safe to drive and that they had been repaired.
Let me ask you this question. Did you take them both out?
I did.
Okay, and you used them?
Yes.
Caption coming up.
You're not renting damaged jet skis. You're suing up to $10,000, which would make these things totally inoperable. But you're renting them to other people.
They're going to be repaired fully.
Well, they're not going to be repaired by her.
And later today,
Miss Keeling,
Yes.
where is this coin collection?
It's in the car.
How did you get here to court today?
A rental.
I have to tell you that I'm not liking your attitude. You have to stand up.
A young woman smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jeremy and Amanda.
jet ski owner Jeremy Wisman claims Amanda Hartley damaged both of his jet skis while renting them.
Let me ask you this question. Did you take them both out?
I did.
Okay, and you used them?
Yes.
And did you take the trailer?
Yes.
Did anything happen with the trailer?
So with the trailer, it was missing pins, and so we had to purchase our own pins with the trailer. And then the lights were not working, so we had to purchase our own lights for that trailer. So when we dropped off the trailer and the jet skis, I had let him know that the lights were not working. I had to then purchase my own.
Did you send him that by text or by phone?
By message, by
May I see it?
messenger, yes. Let's see.
Mr. Wisman, the prior people who you said rented the jet ski, you said that they damaged them, which is possible if not probable when somebody uses jet skis, because I know my own grandchildren ride around like lunatics in them when they have an opportunity. Why don't you have insurance if this is a business of yours?
I do have personal insurance.
Not personal insurance, I'm talking about any kind of insurance for damage to your business, to your property.
Well, business insurance was...
For the jet skis.
They
You
are
paid $14,000 for them. I'm just curious.
So I do have insurance on them. I have that right here. The reason I don't want to make a claim on them is because my insurance skyrockets or they would drop me because I have so many pieces of equipment insured on them.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
Your Honor.
May I see the text messages? That, Mr. Wisman, might be your problem.
Can I speak for a moment, please?
Yes, in a second. Wait,
okay.
I'm reading this.
Judy reviews a text message.
Do you have the next page of this? This is on June 19th at 12:41 p.m. We haven't made it to the lake yet. Someone must have drove the trailer into the water because there was water in the lights. The brake lights don't work and there's no keys to the blue jet ski. Then you write back, the key was in the center console. They worked when you guys took them and the keys were in both.
They picked them up at 10 o'clock at night. The lights worked.
Right here is where it says that I bought the lights. Okay.
Don't read it, just give it.
Amanda hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews another text message.
What does this mean, no sucked up rocks?
Because he had asked me, was there water and rock sucked up in it? Because when I picked those ones up, he said that's what he had to clean out, what was in those Sea-Doos and the Yamaha prior for me picking them up, which is why he said I was going to have the red ones instead of those.
Got it. Would you show this to the plaintiff, please, and tell them to explain that to me?
Judy hands the document to Kevin, who brings it to Jeremy. He reviews it.
This is her telling me that she didn't suck any rocks up.
The front part of that jet ski is what I am aware of the damage that I did.
Great. Let me know exactly how you damaged the front of the jet ski.
I was driving into the front of the shore and then gravely bumped against the boat dock.
And when you bumped against the boat dock, what happened to the jet ski?
So that's when the front piece of that plastic piece had broke.
Was there any damage to the Sea-Doo?
No.
Okay, you drove the Sea-Doo.
Yes.
Could you stand up for me, please? Your last name is?
Hartley.
Mr. Hartley, you drove the Sea-Doo and your wife drove the Yamaha.
Yes.
Did you stay on those all weekend?
We probably switched back and forth, but
Okay. Did you have any accident with the Sea-Doo?
no, ma'am.
Hit anything?
Nope.
Did you see any damage to the Sea-Doo?
No.
And when you returned them, the damage that you saw on the Yamaha was this front panel damage that your wife had done.
Yeah.
How much did you pay the plaintiff?
$480.
For the weekend?
For the weekend, yes.
For the two?
The deposit was $300, and then when we picked them up, we had paid him the $180, and he said that was fine.
And when you dropped them off, Was he there?
Yes, so I assume he was inside his home. We were messaging. As I was there at his home, I'm texting him, hey, I'm here. Do you want to come outside and overview these? He then declined to come outside and look at them.
May I see those texts?
Oh, I don't believe I have those, of him declining to come outside.
Well,
But,
D like to see your text to him indicating that you're there.
I never got that text.
I don't think I have it within this, but
Well, that's
the whole
important.
way that we were there.
That's important.
Can I speak, ma'am? My last message to her was at 10:45 that night, saying that since there's no daylight and I had to work the next day, to go ahead and just leave them in the front yard.
Got it. So you just told her to leave it.
I told her to leave it at 10:45, but I never received any response back. No, I'm here.
And she left it.
Yes.
And the next day you looked and you saw damage.
Yes, ma'am.
And the only thing that she advised you of was damage to the blue Yamaha.
She did say that there's scuffs and stuff on the bottom of the holes also.
Well, they may.
But she wasn't sure if that was still there. But they
And
weren't
also
scuffs, they were
indicated that I
giant
didn't
holes.
believe it was from me.
There were giant holes.
Yeah, like what you saw in the pictures.
Okay, I would like to see the repair bill. And I would like to see why, if you have these insured, why you didn't use the insurance unless you have a deductible.
They're not fully repaired yet. So I don't have the repair bill.
Your Honor, I have right here that he is still, they must be fixed because he has them re-rented out, listed online.
May I see it?
Yes.
Amanda hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
And from when I screenshot that yesterday, it said a week ago.
Judy reviews a rental advertisement for the jet skis.
Is this the Yamaha you used?
Yes.
Did you list these out for rent, sir, after the defendant used them?
I did, yes.
Just-
I have them
the
patched.
answer is you did. So they must be available.
So they're patched. They're not fully fixed. And I have it. They're
Mr.
at the
Wisman,
mechanic right now.
Mr. Wisman, unless you can show me an estimate to fix the front panel that she says was damaged, I'm dismissing your case.
The front bill. This is just the front piece.
I'd like to see
I
it.
ordered it and replaced it myself.
I'd like to see it.
Jeremy hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
It was $114.59. That's the only piece you're getting reimbursed for.
Not the holes.
Oh, no. Not that you re-rent it again. I don't know how many people you rent these things to and say, well, I patched them up and charged the exact same thing as she did, and then they use them. And with your patchwork, maybe they come off again. Maybe you say that they damaged them. Listen, Mr. Wisman, if you're running a business and your business is renting jet skis and you have insurance, then use it. But you're not renting damaged jet skis. You're suing up for $10,000, which would make these things totally inoperable. But you're renting them to other
rented them
people.
once.
And later today,
Is anything today that I just said to you inaccurate?
Well, yes, as far as me going to his home.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jeremy and Amanda.
jet ski owner Jeremy Wisman is accusing his customer, Amanda Hartley, of damaging his jet skis and not returning all his equipment.
Listen, Mr. Wisman, if you're running a business and your business is renting jet skis and you have insurance, then use it. But you're not renting damaged jet skis. You're suing up for $10,000, which would make these things totally inoperable. But you're renting them to other
rented them
people.
once.
You're renting them to other people.
They're going to be repaired. Fully.
Well, they're not going
Right
to be
now it's-
repaired by her.
Right now, it's the cosmetics.
$114.59, judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished.
Then what about
Court is
all the
adjourned.
things that
That's it. We're done.
Jeremy, then Amanda.
I'm not happy with it.
I'm just glad that the good person won in this.
I got a patch on them.
So I tried to make it right with him, and then when he started to have these excessive charges and have damages that were not mine, it was wrong.
They're going to be fixed fully this winter.
So that's when it needed to come to this.
They work. They're just cosmetically not finished.
Probably through an actual business, not private renter.
Probably do it for another year and see what happens.
Judy and Sarah.
I actually thought that while dressed in a suit and tie and sounding very good, when the defendant said, I sent him a note and I said, we didn't suck up any rocks, but I did damage the front and I'm sending you a picture of it. I thought two things were disingenuous about the plaintiff. A, he didn't use his insurance, and it's a business. He said, well, my rates will go up. Well, otherwise then you have...
You're stuck with the damage.
You're stuck with the damage because usually if you rent a car, either you pay for the insurance when you rent a car or you self-insure. And the second thing, and the most important thing was, he said there were gaping holes in them, and he took pictures of the holes. But then he acknowledged that he had listed them for rent. And then he said, I patched the holes. Who knows if a patch is good? You're out in the middle of a lake, and if the patch fails, then that's dangerous. Anyway, I was not impressed with him. if you're going to be in the business, this was our second jet ski case. I don't know why that's become such a popular business. I think probably because of the pandemic.
Yeah, I think people are just spending more time with their families outside.
We've seen our family with jet skis. Some are
A few
normal.
incidents here and there.
Some are normal. And some power them up and stand up on them, and you can ride them standing up and sitting down. By their very nature, they're designed to be driven aggressively.
Yeah.
Except if they're driven by a 70 and an 80-year-old, then, you know, you're lucky to sort of make it around the lake. Anyway, I didn't believe him. That's the bottom line.
Kevin.
Case number 1164, Angeles versus Keelan. Please step forward.
Jorge Angeles is suing his former friend, Keontae Keeling, for the return of a car and a coin collection.
Miss Keeling,
Yes.
where is this coin collection?
It's in a car, in my Volkswagen Jetta.
Where is it?
It's parked in front of my apartment.
How did you get here to court today?
A rental.
I have to tell you that I'm not liking your attitude.
Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I do understand.
Good. Case is a relatively simple one. You and the defendant were friends. A certain period of time you were roommates. According to you, just friends. There was a time when you needed a car. A friend was selling a car. According to the plaintiff, it was a Jetta. He agreed to advance the money for the car. He did. You agreed to pay him for the car. You didn't. He took the car. You went to the house and took his coin collection. That's how you have his coin collection. According to you, you were holding the coin collection as collateral to get the car back. He's a truck driver. While he was out of town, you went and took the car back.
Yes.
So far, you acknowledge all of those things,
Yes.
right? Two things. Is anything today that I just said to you inaccurate?
Well, yes, as far as me going to his home, I rented out a room in his house. So
From when to when?
from December 2020 till I took the car in August 2nd,
Where was he when you took the car?
out of town.
The car is in both your names.
Yes, it is.
It was in both your names because you were supposed to pay him for the car, and as soon as you paid him for the car, he was going to take his name off the title. That was your agreement.
Yes,
Who has the title for the car?
George.
Great. Would you give me the title, please?
Jorge hands a document to Kevin.
I see it.
He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Don't leave, Kevin. Where does she sign this car over to him? You know where? Right there. Sign it.
Kevin brings the document to Keontae.
Right now.
Date and signature.
She signs it.
Date it. Give it to him, please.
Thank you.
Kevin hands the document to Jorge.
You getting an appearance fee for coming to court today?
Yes,
How much?
$250.
We're going to hold that. He's going to pick up his car, which you didn't pay for. Do you understand?
I
you
understand. I understand.
If the car isn't there, or if there's any damage to the car, he's going to report it stolen, because now he has full title to the car. Do you understand?
I understand.
Great. Where is the coin collection?
It's in the car in the Volkswagen.
Where exactly in the car?
It's in the trunk.
Do you know where the car is now located?
Yes,
Do you have a second set of keys for the car?
I have one set of keys, yes. Yes, I do.
You're not to go near the car again. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you do, he's going to call the police. Then we're going to play him this tape. Do you understand?
I understand.
Very good. You've got your car back, and you've got your coin collection back. It's in the trunk.
Okay.
Any difficulty, you let me know.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We're
Thank
done
you.
here.
Court is adjourned.
Keontae is interviewed, then Jorge.
I feel like he gave me the car as a gift
Well, I was just trying to help her get a car to go to her job.
because he wanted me to be his girlfriend.
We're just trying to be nice, not buy. You know, you don't buy people, you just be nice.
No, I took the coins out of anger because he took the car from me first.
I was the one that offered her a car,
That's what, just out of revenge, I just took his coin.
so she will not be Ubering all the time.
I'm not mad, I just get my own car. I know what to do now.
In her chambers, Judy with Sarah.
Sarah Rose, that was easy peasy. That was very easy. You had a defendant who knew she was in the wrong, looking maybe to get over. She was nice looking, had a nice smile, took advantage.
Knew she took advantage.
Griffin for vandalism and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 1078, Lovett versus Griffin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Lovett, from what I read from your complaint, it is your allegation that the defendant, who was a boyfriend and for a period of time you lived together, after the breakup of the relationship, he vandalized both your house and your car. That's what you're suing him for.
Yes.
The defendant sort of acknowledges that he lost his temper once and he broke some windows in your house. He acknowledges that he did it, and he said he paid you $400 for the broken windows. As far as the other things are concerned, he denies that he caused any damage whatsoever to your car. And he says, in addition, when you were living together, he purchased certain items for the house. He is no longer in the house, and he wants those items back. In addition, he says that you filed a false police report against him, which we'll get to in a moment. That's what the case is about, so you have a counterclaim.
Yes.
So I need some dates from you first. Tell me the month and year that the two of you moved in together.
It was September 2017.
Did you move to his apartment? Did he move to your apartment? Or did you move into an apartment or a house together?
We moved in together.
So you found an apartment together. Where had you been living previously?
He was staying with his mom and I was staying with mine.
And in 2017, when you moved in together, was the lease in both your names or in one name?
Mine.
Is there any reason for that? I mean, it's a very good idea and one that I support, because if things don't work out, then somebody knows they have to go, rather than it being a joint lease that you're both involved in.
Okay, well, with his background, he wasn't eligible to get on the lease. He couldn't pass a background check.
Okay, is that correct?
Yes.
So, Lisa, and you're still as a couple living in this apartment when the breakup took place?
Yes.
And the breakup took place what month, day, and year?
January 25th. 2021.
And it was not an amicable breakup, so he left quickly.
Yeah, he still had time to get his thing.
Okay. Had you discussed breaking up?
No, he just left on his own.
On January 25th, tell me what happened. She said you just decided to leave.
January 25th, we did have some issues. I'm a truck driver, so I'd be over the road driving trucks, and Danielle would call me while I'm over the road disturbing me, asking me if I'm on the phone with females, asking me...
Okay, so she's being jealous.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I say, it was a big distraction, and it's kind of frustrating because I have to focus on this road.
Okay. I got it that you didn't want a distraction, but you've been together now 4 years and living together in the same place for 4 years. I'm asking these questions, and there's a reason for it based upon your counterclaim, sir.
Okay.
Had you planned on leaving?
Well, we talked about it. We had some conversations, and I was like, this is not working, and...
On what date did you tell her that it wasn't working?
January the 25th.
Is that when you came home from a job?
Yes.
So you were at home?
Yes.
And you just left?
I was escorted out by the police.
Well, that's not a just left.
Right.
I mean, I don't remember because I'm old, but I've been in various relationships, but I don't remember ever calling the police to escort somebody out.
Well, that was the plan, was to me to just leave like that, but she got mad and she felt like I was grabbing some of my things, and she called the police and lied.
Okay, just a second. So that the plaintiff called the police?
Yes.
Miss Lovett, on the 25th of January, do you want to tell me why you called the police?
The 25th of January, the police wasn't called. We had been arguing previously, and on that day, he does a lot of drinking. He was drunk, and he just decided to start with me. It got to the point where yelling, neighbors worrying about what's going on. He left. He got his things, he left. He told me to keep whatever, don't worry about nothing. I'm done. I'm going to my mama's house. I can do what I want to do.
Okay, so he left and he said, I'm going to my mother's house.
Yeah, that time the police was not called.
When were they called?
It was a previous time before that in 2020. That's not when the police was called. He left willingly.
Sometimes people need their recollection refreshed. Does it refresh your recollection, sir, that the police were called in the year 2020, not January 25th, 2021, when you just left?
But also then.
You have any proof that they were called that time?
No, I don't have any proof, and I can also say they was called again on May 25th.
Okay, but you said you were leaving.
Yes.
And between January 25th and May of 2021, did you and the plaintiff have any contact?
Yes, I actually moved back in.
When?
End of February, March.
Is that right?
Yes.
So we took a breather.
Yes.
And you took him back.
Yes.
And that didn't work out, and there was an incident in May.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of incidents.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so
just a
in
second.
May, we're not just
wait, wait, 1 second.
Caption coming up.
He only brought a mattress back, not the box spring. He sold the mattress to his friend last year for $50.
Oh, I cannot believe I went to 10 years postgraduate school for this.
Yes.
My father would be proud.
Later.
There was no agreement or understanding from the very beginning to the time he sold the house behind my back that he had anything to do other than live in the house.
Smothers.
Yes.
Let me read to you what you wrote in your sworn complaint.
A wide-eyed man. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Danielle and Mario.
Danielle Lovett claims her ex-fiancé, Mario Griffin, vandalized her car and caused emotional distress. Mario is countersuing for his belongings and an assault.
Is what you're saying to me, Miss Lovett, that between January 25th, you and the defendant continued to have contact, and he moved back in at the end of March of 2021?
Yes, he moved back in March.
Until when?
March till August 3rd.
Well, then I'm confused, and I'm confused because of this. You claim in your complaint that the damage you're complaining about happened on February 11th.
Yes, he left.
Just a second. And then, after that damage to your windows and or your car, you resumed living together in March.
Yes, that's when he came back.
You continued living together for several months.
Yes.
Sleeping together.
Yes.
Eating together.
Yes.
Socializing together.
Yes.
Then, quite frankly, I don't care what happened in February. And neither does any court care what happened in February. You two were keeping house. There's a word in the law called condonation. And that means that if something happens between a couple and they have a fight and a spat and they break things and they call each other names and they call their in-laws names and then they go back to living together as a couple, the courts don't care about it. Because you evidently didn't care about it. You didn't care about it enough not to resume your relationship with him. So quite frankly, I don't care. And I'm not going to assist you in fixing things that he may have broken, that he may have done while you were separated if you took him back and you continued to live together. So your case is dismissed. Now, I'm going to get to the counterclaim. That's easy. Did he buy the following things? A deep freezer.
We purchased together.
Is that correct?
No.
Prove to me that you purchased it alone.
I have the receipt here, and it's paid for with my bank account.
Okay, I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. Here's the receipt, the treasure chest and receipt.
Mario hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Now,
She reviews it.
what was purchased at Home Depot was $151.80, and you have the receipt for the surround sound system? That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Okay. Do you have a receipt for a sectional sofa?
Yes, I have.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, I'll check that there. And this just, because I financed it, but it's a paper in here that just says paid in full. That one's, yeah, that's the one that says paid in full.
Mario hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
What is this? This is a lease to own.
Right, it's just a paper up there that says paid in full, 0 for the amount of the furniture, and sectional in a queen size bed.
Okay. And this was 15th of December of 2017.
Yes,
This is a
that was
customer
paid.
receipt. Well, let me ask you the following questions before I go through all of these things. So this is all old stuff.
Yes.
Okay. And the iPhone that you say you bought her, you say you bought her and then you turned off service, which is you have every right to do. And in what year was the iPhone 11 purchased?
The iPhone 11 was purchased 2021,
In what month?
March 27th.
When you moved back in?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Did you give it to her as a gift?
No, I have a business account, and by me having a business account, I'm able to get business phones, and so I said, hey, I can get an extra iPhone.
Great. All right. Do you have your iPhone?
Yeah,
Great.
I still have it.
Great. Great. Did you put it on a new payment plan?
I switched
That's
my
either
phone
a yes
number
or a no.
to it. I can't do anything with it. He cut it off, took my phone number, and
Just a second. So you can't do anything with it. Well, he's not going to pay for it. So now you have it, frame it. I don't know what you want to do with it. Okay. When you lived together, did you have a joint bank account?
no, we did not.
Can you tell me? I have just a couple of bills. One is for a 4-year-old bedroom set, which I know that the two of you used, and one is a receipt for $151.80 for a deep freezer. He says he paid for it. You said we purchased it. Explain that to me.
I gave him like $50 on it. We purchased it together as far as the deep freezer.
What about the bedroom set?
The bedroom set, he moved out. I have a receipt where I purchased my own furniture set right here. He brought his back. His is broken. His bed, he sold. He only brought a mattress back, not the box spring. He sold the mattress to his friend last year for $50. So the bed isn't even there.
I'm not following you. When did you buy a new bedroom set?
I bought a bedroom set because he moved out once and he took what he bought. So this was January 2018. I bought a sectional and a bed. He
Okay.
rang his back broken.
Just a second. So you were living together in 2018 and separated for a period of time? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
And when you separated back in January of 18 for a period of time, because I got this was a back and forth, you're saying he took his bedroom set with him?
Yes.
And you purchased another one?
Purchased another.
Is that what you're saying? Does that have a ring of familiarity to you?
Yeah, when I moved my furniture out and bedroom set out at the time, in January.
Yes.
We end up getting back together, and it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And she bring the furniture back, bring everything back, bring the TV back, this and that. We back together. So I bought all my furniture back. I bought everything back to the apartment. She did purchase another bed and another furniture set.
That the two of you used together?
Yes.
Okay, well then let me ask you this. So what you're telling me is that the bedroom set, which is really the only thing I'm interested in, I'm not interested in a 2-year-old freezer that cost $100. The bedroom set that you purchased was in the second bedroom?
No, it was in our bedroom.
And what did you do with the one that she purchased?
The second bedroom.
Oh, I cannot believe I went to 10 years postgraduate school for this.
Yes.
My father would be proud.
Caption coming up.
You sold the house for $27,000, and then the next buyer sold it for $108,000. I feel like you stole that whole
Doesn't
amount.
matter
It
what the
wasn't your
next buyer
property to
did.
sell, and if you sold it, you should have at least told me before you bought another house.
Are they getting it out of their system? Yeah?
Whitney nods. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Danielle and Mario.
Danielle Lovett has accused her ex-fiancé, Mario Griffin, of vandalizing her car and harassment. Mario claims Danielle refuses to give back belongings he purchased.
Let me put it to you this way. Do you have any of his bedroom?
Nothing is there.
Nothing is there?
Nothing.
Nothing. She has nothing.
Not bedroom.
She has nothing.
She's lying.
Okay.
No bed. Couch is there, broken.
Just a second. The couch is there that he purchased?
Yes.
And it's in your apartment?
Yes.
Great. So you have 5 days to get it out. Do you understand? Okay. If you don't get it out of her apartment with a mover within 5 days, on notice to her as to what day you're coming, you will have considered the sofa abandoned. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Then I have resolved this case. Your claim is dismissed because of the reasons that I stated. You have my judgment. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
Danielle, then Mario.
Well, it wasn't fair because he did the damages, but he's still gonna pay for it.
I kind of think it's a money thing, you know.
You know, whether we got back together, he still did it, so that was not fair at all.
I'm a truck driver, so I make a little money and
He could kick rocks. He could kick rocks.
she could use it for her benefits, you know.
He's a narcissist. He could find the next victim.
Glad it's over with, and hey, I'm gonna move on, you know. That's basically it.
So can you just explain a little bit why, if he did damage the home or the car while they were together, is getting back together enough of an out for him to not be responsible for that sort of damage?
Well, I took a term that I learned in law school, which is called condonation. And when you sue for the damage that your mate, your spouse did during the course of a marriage, you may use a course of conduct as a reason for a divorce. But courts can't go back and rewrite history. Now she's going back 6 months and say, well, he broke the windows in my house and he smashed the window in my car. Well, evidently you weren't upset about it enough not to let somebody who had that propensity back into your life and back into your bedroom. So, you know, there's a good lesson for everybody, especially for women. Leopards don't change their spots, usually. Anyway, condonation. Be smart.
Case 1088, Smothers versus Smothers. All parties, please step forward.
John Smothers is suing his twin brother, Chad Smothers, for his portion of profits from selling a house.
Judy.
Mr. Smothers, this is your brother. It is your claim that he owes you your share of the profit from flipping a house.
Yes, Judge.
I read your complaint, I read the answer, and it appears that you purchased 2 houses at auction.
Yes.
In what year did that take place?
2012.
And the purpose of purchasing the houses was for you and your brother to refurbish them and sell them at a profit.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a written contract with your brother?
I have no written contract.
So this was an oral agreement with regard to real estate?
There was no agreement. I bought the houses. The only reason he came to the auction was to put the house in his name.
Justice, listen, He put the houses in his name. The houses are in his name. That means he owns them. If you say there was no agreement between the two of you to flip these houses, which I actually thought you said there was, then houses were purchased in 2012. They were put in your brother's name, so he owns the two houses.
Your Honor, we did have an agreement. We agreed we'd work together on the two houses together at the beginning, and one would be his and one would be mine.
That's not the agreement whatsoever. I bought the houses for me and her to keep living one and eventually sell the other one. He had nowhere else to live, he had nowhere to go, lost his job, so he moved into a house that was, for all intents and purposes, unlivable. There was no agreement or understanding from the very beginning to the time he sold the house behind my back that he had anything to do but other than live in the house.
Smothers.
Yes.
You're the complainant, Jay Smothers.
Yes, John.
Let me read to you what you wrote in your sworn complaint. Chad is my identical twin brother. I was in the military, and when I was done, I lost my home. I was good at building and renovation, so I had the idea to start buying cheap properties, fix them up, and then flip them for profit. That's what you wrote. That's your signature. First time I did this, I went to an auction with my children's mother and Chad. That would be you. I had to put the houses in my brother's name in order to avoid some pending erroneous liens. I bought the two houses. I was going to live in one, and Chad and I were going to renovate both properties. That's what you said. Were you mistaken when you said that?
No, I was not mistaken.
Think about what you just said and what I just read to you that you wrote in your sworn complaint.
The houses were purchased for my plan, my idea. He had nowhere else to live. Yes, I eventually, when he moved into the house, I agreed that if he's going to live there and do work on it with no rent, no payment, no nothing, that he would be able to eventually, when we sold the house together, that yeah, he would get some of the money, but it wasn't his house to sell. It was my money, my plan, my investment. He just put his hand up during the auction.
He did what he did sell the house. $2,700 into the house.
Keep going.
And I made it worth enough to sell.
You sold the house for $27,000, and then the next buyer sold it for $108,000. I feel like you stole that whole amount from me. It wasn't your property to sell, and if you sold it, you should have at least told me before you bought another house. You bought a whole other house. Didn't even tell me, and I found out through a friend that you had this money now, and didn't even give me a single nickel off of it. Now, maybe we didn't have an exact agreement on how much you should get or how much I should get, but I didn't know you even sold the house. And you only got 30 grand for it.
I got nowhere near
Are they getting it out of their system? Yeah? Goodbye. Your case is barred by the statute of limitations. We're done.
Court is adjourned.
John, then Chad.
He was living in a house. 2017, he sold it and didn't tell me that he even sold it.
I put all my blood, sweat, and tears into fixing that house up. He did put initial investment into it.
I should have been able to at least get half of the money from the profit from him selling that house.
Not everyone always gets a return on their investment. Sometimes people lose money on their investments, but
I don't have a brother.
I wish this didn't keep us from being brothers, but maybe we can work it out later.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water, but blood will hurt you just as worse than anybody else.
In her chambers, Judy with Sarah.
So there is a perfect example of why courts insist that you bring your actions if there's a breach of a contract, if there's an accident, if there's a claim of negligence, whatever the claim is, within a reasonable period of time. But the theory of it is that memories are fresh, documents are fresh.
Rubio for the destruction of her property and the return of rent.
Judge Judy enters.
All rise.
She takes her seat behind the bench.
Be seated, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. We have case number 1004, Nichols versus Rubio.
Thank you, Kevin.
She turns to Letitia.
Miss Nichols, I've read your complaint. This is your sister.
Yes, it is.
And there came a time when you and your family moved in with your sister.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me when that was?
That was in October.
Of what year?
Of 2020.
And how many were there in your family?
There were 7 of us.
You, your husband, and children?
Mm-hmm.
Where had you been living prior to moving in with your sister?
We lived in our own home in Barstow.
Is it a home that you rented or owned?
We rented.
Okay, so tell me, what was the reason that you and your family moved in with your sister? You're going to give it to me from your perspective, I know. But tell me your perspective on why your sister welcomed you and 5 children into her house.
We were asked to move in, or she was going to lose her house. She could not afford it on her own since she was about to go through a divorce. She came to us and she asked us to move in. She said her income was only $1,400. Her mortgage was $1,900, and she wouldn't be able to keep the house.
Okay. Ms. Rubio, is that your understanding of the reason that your sister and her family moved in with you in October?
Yes, it is.
How large is your home?
It's a 5-bedroom, 3 bath. It has 2 masters.
Who in your family was living there?
Myself and my 2 children.
And I assume your sister is correct when she said at the time, around October, you were going through a divorce.
Correct.
And prior to that, your husband lived with you, he was employed?
Correct.
Are you still in that house?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's a house that you own?
Yes, ma'am.
It is your claim, Ms. Nichols, that at some point your sister evicted you from the house.
She harassed us.
You say she harassed you, but your claim is that she really evicted you from the house, and as a result of that eviction, you suffered certain losses. You had to go to a hotel, your children were separated, those are all things that flow from that. She did not bring eviction proceedings against you.
Correct.
Okay. You lived there in October, paid rent. What was your rent?
It was $1,500.
And are you employed?
I received disability. I'm about to be cut off. I had some surgeries and going to be going back to work.
Okay.
And I also received, my children have survivor benefits from their father.
Who is this?
This is my son.
Where is your husband?
My husband's at work.
Are any of the 5 children the children of your current husband?
I don't have any children with him, but his daughter was residing in the home.
Okay, so you have 4 children.
Me? Oh, I have 4 children.
You have 4 children with your now deceased husband.
Yes.
Got that?
Yep.
Okay, and they receive survivor benefits. And how much did each child receive from survivor benefits?
$800.
$800 a month. So there was a period of time you were receiving $3,200 a month.
Correct.
Survivor benefits, and you were receiving disability. How much did you receive?
$1,032 currently.
And your husband was working.
Correct.
This is what I gather from your complaint is the gravamen of your case for eviction. There came a time, sometime in December of 2020, because you lived there, paid rent in October. I assume if I asked you the same question, you lived with your sister and paid rent in November.
Correct.
An incident occurred in December between your sister and your husband.
First, between me and her.
About what?
When I moved in, I wasn't told that her income was going to be $1,400 a month. And then I see that she's breeding dogs on the side as a side hustle, making thousands of dollars. So I questioned this. Why am I paying $1,500 of your mortgage and you're only paying $400 when you just made all this money? And so it became an attack. You're just jealous and insecure, looking to see what I have. And it just escalated from there. There was tension in the home. I paid her the money regardless. But
well, Miss Nichols, my question to you is, you had an arrangement with your sister that you were going to pay $1,500 a month.
Based on the $1,400 that I knew was her income.
I don't care what you knew. You had an agreement with her to pay $1,500 a month. And if she hit the lottery and got $1 million, you're still obligated to pay $1,500 a month for yourself, your husband, and 5 children, 4 of your own and 1 of his. That's your obligation.
And I did.
So if she's making money because she's breeding puppies and selling them, had nothing to do with you. I mean, you said that it began with the 2 of you over money, but I'm just letting you know that that's not a sympathetic argument, because it wouldn't be a sympathetic argument if you were getting $1,045 in disability and then you went back to work and you were earning $3,000 a month, and she said, well, now that you're earning $3,000 a month, you have to pay me $2,000 a month for rent. You had an agreement, and the agreement was the $1,500.
And I understand that. It was just meant to be a conversation.
I mean, it was my understanding that the difficulty arose with your husband and the defendant, and it was you who indicated, no, between the 2 of us, we had a problem first.
I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, because there were some incidents that happened that same day, earlier that day.
What day?
That led up, December 8th.
Were you at home?
Me and my children were home, and they witnessed it. I was out that morning to go get everybody in the home breakfast.
So you didn't witness any incident?
With my
December 8th?
belongings, with my things?
Well, is that what started this?
Yes.
Okay, did you witness it?
I have text messages of her. I didn't witness it with my eyes, but I have the threats and the follow through.
Do you have a witness?
Yes.
Is that your son?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me his first name.
Vincent.
Vincent, would you step up, please?
Vincent rises to his feet.
Vincent, you were home on December 8th?
Yes.
About what time did you witness an incident that you felt was disturbing?
I don't remember what exact time, but it was early in the morning.
Okay, where was your mother?
She was out getting food for everyone.
Okay, and tell me what you witnessed.
I was going to go to my mom's room, but then I saw all of our Christmas stuff just shoved in front of her door.
And that was on December 8th?
Yes.
So when you say Christmas stuff, tell me what you're talking about.
Like decorations to put outside or around the house.
Okay, and it was put in front of your mom's door?
Yeah.
And?
Well, I mean, that was it until she came home.
Okay, so what you saw were Christmas decorations that were supposed to be, that you thought were supposed to be put around the house, and they were
thrown. They weren't neatly.
Yeah.
Just a second. They were in front of your mother's door.
Yes.
Okay, now you can sit down, Vincent. Okay, so the Christmas decorations are in front of your door. Now, let's move on with this, because this really doesn't have much to do with why you're not in your sister's house anymore.
Well, after that, she comes out of her room, and they witnesses, all my children witnessed it.
No. You can't tell me what all your children witnessed. Am I not finished with Vincent yet?
Okay.
Vincent, after you went to your mother's room, and I've forgotten why you went to your mother's room.
Well, I was just wondering where she was.
You said she was out getting us food.
Well, I didn't know that at the time until she came back with food.
Okay, you went to look for your mother.
Yes.
And when you went to look for your mother, you saw the Christmas decorations in front of the door. What did you do next?
I think I just went back to my room and then told my brother about it.
Okay. And what happened next?
We kind of just waited until she...
No, what did you do? You just waited until your mother got home?
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't witness anything else. You waited with your brother until your mother got home?
Yeah.
Okay. See anything else that day?
I mean, a lot of stuff happened whenever she did get home.
Caption coming up.
I grabbed my phone to call the police. He took it out of my hand, threw it, breaking the pantry door.
Did you finally get to the police?
I did call the police.
As a result of that incident, were you granted an order of protection?
Yes, ma'am.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Letitia, Vincent, and Lilia.
Letitia Nichols claims her sister, Lilia Rubio, wrongfully evicted her and destroyed her property. Lilia is countersuing for utility bills and property damage.
Well, what happened when she got home?
Well, when she came home, me and my brother, we were trying to point out to her that her Christmas decorations had been thrown in front of her door, and then Lily came out. She just started arguing.
And?
They just started screaming at each other.
Vincent, was your mother's husband home?
Not at the time.
When did he come home?
Sometime around 5.
Were you at home when he came home?
Yeah.
Did an incident happen between your aunt and your stepfather?
Well, I believe there was one point.
Don't tell me what you believe. I only want to know what you saw.
I didn't see anything. I heard it because I was in my room trying to avoid it.
Okay, tell me what you heard.
I heard Lily say
That's
that
your
she
aunt?
was... Yeah, my aunt. I heard her say she was going to send her dogs on her cats so that they could kill them.
That doesn't sound like a good situation.
Does not.
Prior to moving in with your aunt, were your mother and stepfather getting along?
Yeah, there wasn't any problems I was aware of.
Miss Nichols, prior to you moving in with your sister, were you and your husband in any sort of counseling?
We were in marital counseling, yes.
Okay. And that marital counseling was because of a couple of incidents that occurred?
It was due to communication, helping us communicate better with each other.
How long had you been in counseling?
I would say probably 3-4 months at the time.
What incident precipitated you and your husband going to counseling? I want you to think carefully. What incident precipitated you and your husband going to counseling?
I don't think there was a specific incident. I think it was just the way that we talked to each other, learning how to use the tone, how to say things, and we were both communicating, getting frustration, and so we both decided to do something to better that.
Was there ever a time that the police were called to your house?
No.
Did you and your sister have a discussion about, she had dogs, you had cats. How many cats did you have?
We had 2. We did have a discussion about that.
When?
Before we moved in.
And how many dogs did your sister have?
Well, different ones at different times, depending on what.
In December of 2020?
I think she had 2 or 3.
Okay, so now let's get back to December the 8th. You can sit down now.
Vincent sits.
Was that the date that you moved out of the house?
No.
On what date did you move out of the house?
I was back and forth in the home.
As long as you had clothes there, you were there?
Yes.
On what date did you move your property out?
We came for the first, the U-Haul load was December 21st, and then the last of it was the last day of the month.
And was your rent paid for that time? So there was an argument between your sister and your husband, and that argument escalated, and the police were called. Were you at home?
I was in the laundry room, so I didn't witness anything.
Okay. You want to tell me what happened with your brother-in-law?
Do you want me to tell you from the beginning of that day?
Yes.
Okay, so all this time, my sister, she would complain constantly by text, do this, do that, and I'm going through depression, going through divorce, I'm grieving, I'm angry, I'm just going through a lot of emotions, and I lay in bed a lot, I'm not doing well mentally. So I wake up to messages, turn off the heater, I'm not going to pay for a high bill. And previously to that, on December 2nd, she had decided to take the Christmas decorations off of the tree, which was petty, and I just laughed it off. But then by that day, I was fed up.
She had put them on the tree?
She decorated before Thanksgiving, and then on December 2nd, she decided to take the decorations off of the Christmas tree, just the tree. And
was the tree inside or outside?
Inside, in the living room.
So you had a tree set up in the house?
She and her husband had set it up. They decorated the whole house, inside and out.
And she took down the decorations?
Correct.
Where did she put them?
in her room on her own Christmas tree.
Was there ever a time that you took decorations and put them in front of her door?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, where did you get those decorations?
So I got up, it was about 11 a.m., and I wanted to go talk to her because she always decided she wanted to text, never actually talk to me. So she wasn't there. I'd had enough, and I got the rest of her Christmas decorations from in the living room, and I put them in front of her door. I went outside and got her Christmas decorations that were hers in the front, and I put them next to her boat on the side of the house.
You did have a Christmas tree in your room?
I did.
Okay. Did there come a time on the 8th of December or before the 8th of December that you decided to take some of those decorations off the family Christmas tree, which was in the living room, put them on your Christmas tree in your room?
Well,
that's either a yes or a no.
Yeah, I took them off and put them in my room.
That's all. Okay, so on the 8th, you took the rest of the decorations that she had put. It sounds like a wholly uncivilized way to live. All right, get to what happened with your brother-in-law.
So she came home, saw that I had moved her decorations. When she has her children or anyone else around, then she wants to.
No.
Are you? Okay.
I recognize from listening to the two of you that this was not a good situation. I could have told you that it's hard to live with anybody else. How long had it been since you lived with your sister?
Years.
Years. And it was a stressful situation for you without 5 other children and your sister who is not happy that you're selling puppies, whatever. But I want you to tell me what happened with your brother-in-law.
Okay, I decided that instead of always locking in myself in my room to distance myself, I was going to enjoy my house, my home. So I sat in the living room watching TV with my dog. He has a collar on. He's sitting next to me on the couch, and she's walking back and forth. It's about 7 p.m. She's walking back and forth, telling the kids how I need to get my beat, how I need to be taught a lesson. And then someone opened the front door, and one of the cats came in, and I grabbed my dog by his collar, and I said, "Come and get your cat before my dog gets it." So she's walking in and out still. She comes out of her bedroom, and she comes behind me on the couch. It's an open kitchen. She's in the kitchen area, and her husband's like walking 5 steps behind her, and he walks very closely to me, and I just freeze. I grabbed my phone to call the police. He took it out of my hand, threw it, breaking the pantry door.
Did you finally get to the police?
I did call the police.
As a result of that incident, were you granted an order of protection?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a trial, or did the plaintiff's husband consent to the order of protection?
He showed up and requested a continuance, which was granted, and then he did not show up.
So the order of protection is, according to you, for 2 years, and it was granted on default.
It is for until 2024.
Okay, may I see that, please? You didn't want your kids to be involved in the nastiness that was going on in the house, and she didn't want her kids to be involved in the nastiness that was going on between the two of you for whatever reason.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Letitia and Lilia.
Letitia Nichols accuses her sister, Lilia Rubio, of wrongfully evicting her and destroying her property.
Sarah, I am correct that the only person who was the subject of that protective order is your husband. Is that right?
I guess so. He never received anything, but
I don't know whether he received anything or not. He absolutely received something because he showed up in court. Was he removed from the house on that date?
He was served at his job.
No, was he removed from the house when the police came?
no, the day the police came, he was not removed from the house.
On what date was he removed from the house?
2 days later, after she filed a restraining order. I had shown the police.
Just a second. He was removed 2 days later.
Mm-hmm.
Where did he go?
To a motel.
You were not served with a protective order.
No, I was not.
She's the owner.
Her children are on the protective order.
Are
as
they?
well.
Can I see it?
Subsection 3.
Thank you.
Judy reviews a document.
You have a 13 and 14.
Yes, ma'am.
13 and 14. Thank you. After your husband was removed from the home 2 days later, so that would be December 10th, you and the 5 children, including your 4 and your husband's 1, was still in the house.
Yes, we were still in the house. I was going back and forth, between the house and where he was at the hotel or the motel.
When you say you were going back and forth, what does that mean?
Between the house that we lived in, that we paid for, and at the room.
Okay.
And then she moved 6 people in on top of our kids, and they were on their stuff, sleeping in the beds that she said that they could sleep on. It was my parental duty to remove them from a traumatic, just everything that was going on.
Let me understand this, Mr. Nichols. You felt because it was a tumultuous relationship that you had with your sister, and you didn't feel as if your children should be involved in that tumultuous relationship and in that atmosphere. You removed yourself and the children from the house.
After a few days of going back and forth and still having to hear her say something to me, you need to move this, you need to do this, you need to do that. It was just getting to be too much. So they went to a friend's house for a few days and they couldn't stay there forever. So we ended up having to rent 2 motel rooms. I had 2 adult children who were still in the home dealing with all this mess and all the people in the house that she moved in. And it wasn't getting any better. And they didn't want to be there either. And they're 22 and 21.
You can't tell me what they wanted. They were in fact there. The last of your stuff was out on December 31st. You did in fact live, you and your children lived in the house until December 31st. You weren't removed from the house. Your husband was removed from the house because a court found that the defendant was entitled to an order of protection against him to vacate the house. So the court granted that order of protection. Your case is what you describe as constructive eviction. She never forced you out of the house or locked you out of the house.
I have text messages and I contacted a lawyer.
No, you contacted a lawyer
to get advice, to get legal advice, because I'm entitled to have a quiet. I was her tenant.
No, you are her sister, and it got to be nasty between 2 sisters, and it got to be nasty between your husband and your sister, and you had kids. And she had kids, and you didn't want your kids to be involved in the nastiness that was going on in the house, and she didn't want her kids to be involved in the nastiness that was going on between the 2 of you for whatever reason. Why do you think courts have to be involved in this? You moved with 5 children, and you moved with your husband. I assume the 2 of you are still together. Is that an yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And I assume that you're happier than you were living in your sister's house.
Were we happier living with her?
I said, are you happier now living
than we are living? Yes, absolutely.
Great. So why are you annoying all of us? Why did you contact a lawyer? I mean, I'm not following why you think why some people think that everything involves a legal case. You didn't get along with your sister. Happens to be that you had 5 kids, she had 2. You have cats, she has dogs. It was a disaster looking to happen. And it was a mistake. It lasted October, November, December, you were gone. Over. Tell me what brings you to court.
What brings me to court is the fact that she was told, I have police reports of them telling her not to touch my things, and she did so anyways. We sold our furniture because she's like, oh, I have these extra beds that were her husband's kids' beds, and sell your washer and your couches, and
Well, you're a grown-up lady. You had 4 children. She doesn't tell you what to do. You're a grown-up lady. You want to move in with her and you see how it works out? You haven't lived together in years. Put your stuff in storage for a month or so and see how it's working out.
Had I known she was going to make all this money on the side, I would never agree to move in with her.
Yeah, that comes under the category of shoulda, woulda, coulda. You moved in, you knew she had dogs, you moved in, she knew you had cats, or vice versa. I still don't understand why you think everything involves a court case. Look up the term constructive eviction, would you please, for me, Sarah? I know that that's what it says, that she constructively evicted you, which is a term that, did the lawyer say constructive eviction? Is that?
No, they tell me that the landlord could not harass you. They were not allowed to touch your property to make it an enjoyable, you could be quiet.
Yeah, quiet enjoyment.
So a situation where a landlord does not do something that they must do by law, causing the property to be labeled uninhabitable, for example, shutting off the heat or water, then a tenant has a claim against their landlord.
Okay.
She changed the password to the Wi-Fi, and she didn't shut off the water, but what we paid half of all the bills, including the Wi-Fi.
Are you happy your sister is gone?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you happy that you're gone? Yeah. Are you in a house now?
Of course.
Okay. Your case is dismissed, Ms. Nichols. We have no case. Listen, well, you have a counterclaim. It's nonsense. For half the utilities for the 2 months, which you didn't pay, were a couple of $100s. You happy she's gone?
Yes, ma'am.
We're done here. Thank you.
Court's adjourned.
Letitia, then Lilia.
When I was growing up and I went into the system, she was the only one that was there for me.
She's money hungry. She's looking for a way to get money.
It takes 2 people, and it takes admitting.
She's really jealous about whatever I had that she did in it.
And I've apologized for the things that I've done.
There's my future friend.
Judy and Sarah.
Sarah, you have a sister who's younger than you are.
I do.
She's cute as a bug's ear. Could you imagine living with her on a full-time basis?
It'd be tough. It'd be tough.
It's hard to live with somebody that you love.
With anybody, let alone someone you love.
And these are 2 sisters. Certainly the defendant didn't love her sister's husband. The fact that they were living together for economics made it even more difficult for somebody who's already under stress. The only lesson to take away from that is, before you put kids...
Press.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 1062, Marshall versus Hill.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Marshall, it is your claim that the defendant's dog injured yours. Your dog was ultimately euthanized.
Yes.
You want the defendant to be responsible not only for the vet bill, but for the emotional trauma that the attack caused on your child.
Yes.
You two are neighbors.
Yes.
You have a Chihuahua.
Yes.
Had a Chihuahua. You have a pit bull.
Yes, ma'am.
How old was your Chihuahua?
3.5.
How old is your pit bull?
11. She'll be 12 on Monday.
And you've had her since a puppy?
Since she was born, we delivered her in our garage.
Is that your only dog?
Yes.
Ever had any issues with her before?
No, we have not. There was confusion about an issue, but it was worked out because there's a dog that lives on the opposite corner that looks exactly like ours, but is a boy and is always free. And so that dog had an altercation with a lady and her dog while my husband and I were out on our porch. So when we saw it, we came out and helped her. And I walked her home, and then my husband was kind of standing back trying to make sure that that dog was gone.
Just a second. TMI.
Okay.
Too much information. This incident happened how long ago?
I don't actually know. I just read about because they had a note in here about something, and it said that there was another incident with our dog, but we realized that what they were talking about was when they initially thought it was our dog, but we talked to the officers and they realized it was the other dog.
Don't tell me what they realized, don't tell me.
Okay.
If he broaches that subject, I will address it.
Okay.
Tell me on what date this incident occurred, sir.
On May 18th of 2021.
What time?
Around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Who was walking the Chihuahua?
My daughter.
How old is she?
10.
Where were you?
Right next to her.
What are her special needs?
She has Down syndrome. She has a speech impediment, and she has a stent in her heart. So
Before this dog, which was 3 years old at the time, did you have another dog?
I did.
What kind of dog did you have?
That one was a terrier.
What happened to that dog?
Well, due to my wife and I, our addiction in the past, we lost that dog when we lost our house and our daughter. But when we got our stuff together 5 years ago, we ended up getting my daughter another dog, that kitty, the one that we had to put down.
Was your daughter living with relatives or in a foster care?
My daughter, she was in foster care, yes.
For how long?
About a year and a couple months.
Glad to see you got it together.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm happy.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me what happened on May 18th.
Like always, my daughter and I, we walk her dog every afternoon, and she was walking the dog down the street, and then all of a sudden we seen a brown pit bull come from the defendant's backyard, and there's no fence, so the dog just came charging out. My first instinct was to grab my daughter, so I grabbed my daughter and turned her around and put her behind me. And I grabbed the dog's leash, and Kitty's in a harness, and I pulled Kitty up real hard so the dog doesn't get her, but Kitty flew out of her harness. And the dog came and grabbed her and pinned her down on the ground. So she came running out, the defendant came running out with a chain and hit the dog and grabbed the dog and took it off. I grabbed my dog and my daughter and I left.
Okay, so Miss Hale came out with what kind of a chain?
I'm guessing it's the dog's leash because the...
Was it a metal chain?
Yes.
Had you known Miss Hale prior to May 18th?
No.
You'd never seen her before?
I mean, I've seen them because we walked past their house to walk the dog, but other than that, no.
I haven't had any conversation with her?
No.
Okay. And after she came out and got her dog out of the situation, did she actually hit the dog with the chain?
Yes.
How many times?
Just once.
And then what did the dog do?
And then the dog let go, and then she grabbed the dog, and then I grabbed my dog. And then I grabbed my daughter and I left.
Okay, so you carried your dog?
Yes.
And how did she grab hold of her dog?
She just really just jumped on
Miss
her.
Hale, there's only one attitude here. That would be mine. Do you understand?
I do.
It's all good.
Thank you.
She just basically jumped on the dog after, you know what I mean, just a quick reaction.
When did you next see her?
I want to say maybe the third or fourth time we came to try to give them the vet bill. And then that's when she told me that her husband wasn't home and that, you know, she couldn't deal with nothing right now and that to leave the mail or the vet bill in the mailbox.
When you say it was the second or third time, when was the first time?
The first time was the day that I took my dog to the vet on the 19th.
So you took your dog the next day?
Yeah, because the first night, or the night it happened, the day it happened on the 18th, we went to the emergency room, but the vet wasn't there.
You mean because it was after 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
So you went to an emergency vet?
Yes.
What happened there?
And the nurse there said that the vet wouldn't be in for a couple of hours.
So you went home?
Yes.
And what did you do with the dog?
I did what she told me to do, basically keep it wrapped up. And I just let Kitty sit down, and she said, just let her get comfortable. So I let her get comfortable.
Was she bleeding from any place?
Not at the time, no.
And you didn't see any puncture wounds?
Oh yeah, there was puncture wounds. I have pictures of it too.
I'd like to see the pictures.
Ma'am, may I see them also?
Of course.
Thank you.
First me.
Of course.
Lorenzo hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy.
That's my dog.
Thank you.
She reviews them.
Yeah, those are clearly puncture wounds. Would you show these, Kevin, to the defendant?
Kevin hands the photo to Deanna.
This isn't, there's no wound on.
No, it was stuck to the paper.
Okay.
Deanna shows the photo to a man on the left.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take that back now, Kevin.
Deanna hands the photo to Kevin, who returns it to Judy.
Thank you. I only see 2 puncture wounds. I don't see any more. Is that what you saw, 2
Well,
puncture?
that's all. No, the other 2, I guess, were deep inside. We couldn't get the picture of it.
No, but I see
But
2.
yeah.
Is that what you're showing me here?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you took the dog to the vet and surgery was suggested?
Yes.
How much did they want for the surgery?
It was between $3,000 to $5,000, but they couldn't tell until they did the x-rays. So I had to put up $1,000 just to put her on the machine until I can get enough money to have them go through with the process.
And so what was this $845 for?
To euthanize.
Do you have that bill?
Lorenzo hands documents to Kevin.
Oh, this goes with it. Because they had messed up when they did the total. They didn't charge something, but then they put the total into that.
Judy reviews the bill.
So what you actually paid to the vet was $854.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Hale. Clearly, your dog was off leash.
Yes,
Clearly.
no, ma'am. She actually had her leash on, but it's a long chain, as he said. It is a chain, and I didn't have full control of it.
Actually, Miss Hale, your dog was off leash.
Okay.
If you don't have control of it, then the dog is off leash.
Okay.
Because if the dog was on the leash, you wouldn't have had any contact. Put your hand down. Because if you had control over the dog,
No, I understand what
then
you're
it
saying.
wouldn't have punctured this dog. You
Ma'am,
would
that
have
did not
stopped.
happen. Can I please just tell you?
You can. We're going back to May 18th,
The actual incident.
2021 at 4:30. Where exactly were you?
I was in the backyard with my dog.
Okay. You were in the backyard. Who else was there?
It was just me and my dog in the backyard.
Okay. And where was your husband?
Inside, and he just got out of the shower.
So he was inside the house?
Yes, ma'am.
So he was inside the house and not there. Now, is your bathroom where the shower is in front of the house or in the back of the house?
No, he said he was drying off. He was in the the bathroom is in the room. The bathroom is in the bedroom. I'm answering your question.
I'm asking you whether the shower in your house is towards the front of the house or the back of the house. That's a simple
back
question.
of the house in the
back of the house.
Next
So
to the
he-
driveway, where I can give you the picture if you would like to see exactly where. I can show you.
I asked you a simple question. Is the bathroom in the back of the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Or so it's in the back of the house?
Yes.
Because he was moving his head up and down as if he actually witnessed this thing, which he did not.
No, he did, ma'am.
Impossible.
It's not impossible because he was getting out of the shower. He heard his dog, like he normally does. He heard me say, "Layla, sit." So he looks out of the window. The window is right there. He couldn't come out because he was naked. So he's looking out of the window, and I'll let him tell you what he saw.
Yeah, you can let him tell me what you saw. Your dog was out. Your dog was, for whatever reason, not under your control.
Yes, ma'am.
And then what happened?
And then what happened? Okay, so his dog comes walking up the street. His dog.
How do you know that if you were in the backyard?
Okay. His
No,
dog,
no, just-
imagine an angry Fran Drescher as a chihuahua. It screams like literally. I don't know what to do. It's
Just a
embarrassing.
second. Just a second. I'm asking you, you said to me, I'm in the
answering your question.
backyard with my dog.
I'm answering your question.
And I sit, and you said he comes walking down the street, and I just want to know how you see that.
And that's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Well, then,
we don't see them.
So you don't
hear them.
You
hear them because the dog that he's speaking of, if it sees anything, whether it's a cat, a bird, anything, it barks. I'm talking like a loud
all the way down the street. Everyone in the neighborhood sees it, knows it, everything. You don't worry about.
Listen to me. Don't tell me what anyone sees.
Okay.
Don't tell me what anyone knows.
What I see.
You heard
what I see and I
You
hear.
heard his dog barking as he was walking it down the street.
Past my house.
Okay.
He comes to my. Okay, now we're in my backyard. I don't know. Well,
Who's we? You and the dog.
Me and the dog. Me and Layla are in our backyard. Layla is my dog.
Yes, I know.
We're in our backyard. I'm picking up her food stuff because I just, we went for the walk. I have her food trays out, and so I was going to bring it in the house. I had her here right next to me. His dog, he's standing at the end of my driveway. His dog is on one of those retractable leashes, but is in my driveway underneath the bushes. And I can show you exactly where it is, how everything positions out. And it's screaming, barking at my dog. So my dog, of course, goes in that direction. I see what's happening from the second.
Just a second. So your dog sees his dog hears his dog and goes in that direction.
Yes.
At that point, the dog is off leash. He says no. You say yes. Who should I believe? He's shaking his head this way, and you're saying yes. Now, you're both seeing the same thing.
I'm agreeing with you as the point of you saying I did not have control. She did have her leash on.
I don't care whether she had her leash on. You're just trying to explain to me, madam.
No, I'm trying to be accurate.
You're trying to explain to me that his dog was on a retractable leash and therefore really not in control because
And that is accurate.
just a second, because the dog, you say, is now on your driveway.
That is correct.
And I'm saying you didn't have your dog on leash.
In my driveway.
Correct. And he's saying...
I know, she was on her leash. I did not have full control, but she was on her...
That's not a question of full control. You can have a leash on a dog and a collar on a dog, and the dog can be in Paramus while you're in Teaneck. That doesn't mean you're in control
which is
of
why
your
I
dog.
was agreeing with you.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He wasn't. He was saying just the opposite of you.
I didn't say anything. I can't talk.
Oh, yeah. I would say that you should put your phone away and listen with your 2 ears. When Layla heard Kitty's tags jingling,
no, ma'am.
Layla ran off and Deanna immediately chased after her. This is what the officer says you said.
Deanna lowers her eyes. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Lorenzo and Deanna.
Lorenzo Marshall claims his neighbor, Deanna Hale, owes for vet bills after his dog was attacked by Deanna's pit bull.
Okay.
Would you like me to finish?
I would.
Okay. So my car is here. Layla is here. His dog is here in line sight with us. He's standing back here. I run behind Layla to grab her, so I was able to catch her before the dog. The dogs never touched. Ever, not one point in time did the dogs ever touch. When he sees Layla, he yanks his dog back, which is a normal reaction. He yanks his dog back, but he's swinging his dog around in a circle. The dog makes at least 2 full circles. By that time, I'm sitting on top of my dog, because I had her chain right here. So I'm sitting on top of her and I'm holding her. He lets go of the dog's leash. She goes flying further into my driveway, past me, like right under my bedroom window where he's looking out the window. It flies under the window, and I'm sitting there, and then the dog is now in my driveway, still barking, but didn't want to run past. Finally, the dog runs past me because I'm sitting. I was like, "Can you get your dog?" And his dog runs to the sidewalk. He walks over, picks up his dog, and then they walk home. I come inside the house, and my husband, he's standing there with his towel. He said, "That dog came by again?" I said, "Yeah." He knew nothing. He saw, well, I'll let him explain what he saw. I said, "I'm worried about his daughter. I want to make sure she wasn't scared, you know." And I asked him, because he's a psychiatric counselor on the child unit. I said, "Do you think I should go check on her?" He said, "Absolutely." So I go down to his house. I asked the neighbor, I said, "Hey, you know the people upstairs that have the screaming dog?" And she's like, "Yeah, I know where they live." And I said, "I don't want to go up there. Would you mind getting them for me?" She goes up, she gets them. He comes downstairs with his daughter and the dog. I look at his daughter, I said, "Hey, baby girl, how you doing?" She goes, "Good." She comes over and gives me a hug. Then I look over at him. He won't make eye contact with me, but he's holding the dog, but he has a blanket kind of under it. And so I thought that was weird, because I'm like, because I knew the dogs never touched. Not at one point in time did the dogs ever make contact. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, why are you, what's that? So I played it off. I walk over to him and the dog. I put my hand on the dog's stomach. It's like, hey, puppy, didn't mean to scare you. And the dog licks my finger and it's fine. Like, I literally touched the dog. There's not, of course, not a scratch, no blood, no nothing, because the dog's never touched, ever, not one point in time. I swear on everything.
Now we're going to get back to the other incident that you were talking about. When did that allegedly occur?
I think they said it was like back
No.
to when we moved in. I don't remember the date because it didn't really involve us. The first we were seeing it was here.
Just give me the month and year.
I don't have the month and year, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
You have any report of any prior incident with this dog?
Yes, I do. Well,
I'd like to see it, please.
And ma'am, may I tell you the same officer that did that report?
No.
Is the same one that came to our house.
No, I just want to see it.
Kevin hands a document to Judy.
and Your Honor, may I say something about what she said about my daughter saying she was fine?
No, I understand.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying to me, sir. You described the nature of her frailty, so I do understand.
Thank you.
Miss Hale.
Yes, ma'am.
Just so that you know, that the veterinary emergency report on the dog indicated, and I'm quoting, multiple puncture wounds to the lateral abdominal wall, penetrated abdominal wall wound present.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I do.
Okay.
May I respond?
Only with something intelligent.
Okay.
You know,
then
only with
then
something.
I would like to respond.
Sure.
You're reading me a vet bill that says that his dog had injuries, correct?
Multiple puncture wounds to the lateral abdominal wall, penetrating the abdominal wound present.
Okay, so I have a question.
I don't have an answer. I don't have a question.
So there were no.
I don't.
When I saw the dog, right after when I went to their house, there were no wounds at all. And not only that, when he went to the vet, he's saying that there were now all of a sudden there were puncture wounds.
No. He's not saying anything. He gave me a report.
Right. What I'm saying is, first of all, our dog's never touched.
Okay.
Second,
I understand what you're saying.
If there were injuries to that dog, he did that. He did that to his dog.
Me and my daughter.
Just a second.
Absolutely. No, not your daughter. I believe you did it. I believe you did it because there were no wounds to that dog, and you know it.
Right.
You know it.
I heard my.
They never. Yes, you absolutely did.
Mr. Marshall.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I got it.
No, and he's banking off of the prejudices of pit bull. My dog is a 12-year-old arthritic dog with joint hip dysplasia and joint problems. I have videos of her trying to walk. She can't even run like the way he's saying she did. I can show you.
But she ran out and bit my dog.
But she didn't.
She's not going to take down what you're saying.
That's fine. But as long as you know what the truth is, whatever the outcome is, I'm here to tell you the truth.
Miss Hale, I have to tell you that it's very, very hard for me to imagine that the parent of any child, no less a Down's child who is an affectionate child,
which is why he's banking on that.
Hey, accidents happen.
It didn't happen, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, you want me just a second.
Did not
just a
happen.
second. And what you want me to believe is that this man took his dog home and took something like an ice pick.
Yes, ma'am.
And
I don't know what he used. I don't know what he did. There absolutely were no injuries to the dog.
You acknowledge that you had no control of your dog, and your dog went running down the driveway, walking down the driveway, sprinting down the driveway, crawling down the driveway, but at some point you didn't have control of the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's correct that you were advised of your right to an administrative hearing if you did not consent to 3 years probation for your dog?
No.
And that both you and your husband did not want a hearing and agreed to the probation period. Is that correct?
That is not correct. In fact, actually, this is the first time we saw that, and so I actually called the officer and spoke with him today, and I have a text message from him with that. Well, not from him, but from me to him about that.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't do text messages, madam.
Would you like the officer's phone number?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That's your witness. You bring him.
Okay.
Page 3. I advised Donna and Dewey, that would be the two of you, that they would need to display the potentially dangerous dog sign that was provided by the shelter and by Layla's dangerous dog license. I advised on 3 years probation. I provided Donna with my card and case number and with definitions pertaining to the above laws. I then cleared the scene. Then on June the 2nd, he next says, I spoke to the animal owner, Deona Hale, via phone, who stated that she will be in this week to sign the contracts to obtain potentially dangerous sign and license for Layla. Hale has already been cited for the above violation. Okay, So this is what the officer wrote in his report. First, they talk about a prior incident, which I assume is the incident you're going to tell me, right, with some other dog. I must tell you that when they spoke to your husband the first time about this incident, he says he was complaining that these small dogs are always defecating on his property.
Yes, we've had arguments with neighbors about it.
Just a second. I'm just reading you what he said with regard to the prior incident.
Mm-hmm.
He said he interviewed you, and on the day of the incident, Deonna had just, this is what...
We never interviewed about the prior incident.
Just a second. On the day of the incident, May 18th.
Okay, May 18th.
Pay attention. Deonna had just got back from walking Layla. Deonna took off Layla's chain near the back porch of the residence. Deonna walked me up her driveway and to the area where the incident started, and she removed Layla's chain. When Layla heard the little dog's Kitty's tags jingling, I'm reading you what the officer wrote. Layla ran off, and Deonna immediately chased after her. This is what the officer says you said.
Deonna's eyes widen.
He has proof showing that he took his dog to a vet days later. So he's saying that he went to a vet, they told him to go home with wounds?
What you want me to believe is that this man took a... There's no attitude here but mine.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Lorenzo and Deonna.
Lorenzo Marshall says his neighbor, Deonna Hale, is responsible for vet bills after her pit bull attacked his dog.
Okay, Deonna walked me to the area where the interaction occurred. Deonna stood on the public sidewalk and stated that the man, Marshall, was swinging the little dog Kitty around on her leash.
That is correct.
Deonna quickly hit Layla with the chain. Deonna jumped on Layla to gain control of her. Deonna told the man to get his dog. Deonna stated that he saw the man had a small special needs child with him. Deonna was concerned for the child and walked north to make sure the child was okay. Deonna stated she was met with a small dog owner, Marshall, who had the dog in a blanket and was holding it. The male stated he was taking the dog to the vet. Deonna stated that she pet the dog and did not see or feel any injury on the small dog. She stated she saw no blood on the dog. Deonna stated she saw the whole thing, and Layla did not hurt the small dog. That was page 4.
Elaborating, and he is not using my specific words. Okay. If you want to use my specific words, I can show you the picture of what he's talking about on the driveway.
Did
You're
you?
relying on words
I'm
of people who weren't there.
I'm speaking. Did you go and pick up the sign as you were directed to do? That's a yes or a no. That's a yes or a no.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you get your dog licensed in Stockton?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
On July 7th. And when I was advised.
Just a second. 7/7. Okay.
Can I tell you, I was advised.
You can't tell me what you were advised. You can show me a document if you like that says something.
Can I show you?
I'll take a look at the document, any document you have.
So this is the license.
Just hand him the document.
And that's that.
Deonna hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Well, this would be a reminder notice. Violation date is 5/26. Amount due $4,790. What is $4,000 for?
Because the way it was explained to me by the officer.
No. Did this have to do with the dog?
Yes.
Did you pay the money?
No.
Just a second.
Because if you look at the paper, it tells you why. I was told by the officer that we can go contest it because we disagree with the entire process. They told us if we got the letter that we were asking about, if we accepted that letter and we signed those contracts, it's saying that we agreed to the terms. We do not agree to the terms because our dog's never touched. My dog is not
I'm just telling you what this says.
I understand what it says.
This says amount due.
And it says that we have to contest
$4,790. When are you going to contest
this? On February 10th. I think it's on the top of that form.
Of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the nature of the violation? No. The nature of the violation has to be you agree to probation and you agree to put signs up on your lawn.
But we do not. We do not agree to probation. We do not agree to put up signs. My dog is not violent. The incident that he is saying did not happen.
Okay.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to pay $4,000 to a city because somebody else is making up a lie.
Just you stay with that story. Somebody may believe you.
I'm staying with the truth.
Somebody may believe you. I do not.
And why do you not believe me when I have proof here showing
just
you?
a second.
He has proof showing that he took his dog to a vet after the fact, days later. So he's saying that he went to a vet. They told him to go home with wounds?
No.
They told him to go home with wounds? The dog. He took his dog home.
I heard you already. What you want me to believe, madam, is that this man took a... There's no attitude here but mine. There's still no attitude here but mine. You want me to believe that this man took his dog after this incident, that this man decided, you're an idiot, that this man decided, to take an ice pick to his dog and put multiple puncture wounds in the dog.
Yes.
And that's what you want me to believe. You're an idiot. At first, actually, Mr. Marshall, I was going to award you the vet fees. She is so delusional, and she's got a co-conspirator with her delusions. I'm actually embarrassed for you.
Thank you.
I'm actually embarrassed for you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,000. We're done.
Court is adjourned.
Deanna, then Lorenzo.
He flat out lied.
It's a shame that people can't be honest.
Our dog's never, ever touched at any point in time.
You know, if you have a dog that does something wrong, you should be man enough or woman enough to admit it and take responsibility for yourself.
I believe that he injured his own dog.
That's really insulting, you know, that I would actually harm my daughter's dog.
He walks by our house every single day, to this day.
People are like that nowadays, and they know they're wrong. They're going to try and do everything they can to avoid paying anything.
Judy and Sarah.
I think what to me was most outrageous was even the suggestion that that man would purposely injure that dog in order to get money from these people when he clearly didn't want money from them. He originally just said, please just pay my vet bill. So I would have to think that he was really a pretty deranged guy to do that. On the flip side of that, you have this woman who really didn't see what happened at the beginning because she was running and chasing after her dog because her dog was clearly barking on the way. She said nothing to the police officer who came and spoke to her about the dog yap, 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 yapping and being up her driveway. As a matter of fact, she took the officer to the place on the public sidewalk where the incident took place, which means that her dog was out of her control on the public sidewalk, not on the driveway. It so defies credulity that that kind of behavior, was really an accident. But animals are animals, and that's why they're supposed to be under your control at all times. And what you
hotel costs, and storage fees.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
She takes her seat behind the bench. Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1163, Gangling versus Benarin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Gangling, interesting story. You were moving from Arizona to California?
Correct.
And you had a friend. I assume this was the mutual friend?
I have a very good friend. A friend of his is also...
Who was this?
This is my sister.
You knew the defendant through a mutual friend.
Exactly.
You were moving from Arizona to California with a son who was how old?
15.
And according to you, you wanted him to go to a good school, and you found out through this mutual friend that the defendant had an apartment in California, in an area where you wanted to live. You came to look at the apartment, and you came to look at the apartment, I believe, in June of this year.
Correct.
And you liked the apartment.
Yes.
And you settled on a rent.
Yes.
You negotiated the price of the rent. He wanted more. You wanted to pay less. How much was he asking originally?
He was asking, I believe, $37.50.
Is that what you were asking, sir?
No, I was asking 45, and I said because she's a friend.
No, just a second. You were asking 45.
I was asking 45 for the apartment, but because through a friend, I said I'll give it to you for 4.
Had you rented the apartment before?
Yes.
To whom?
To a lady who moved to Utah.
How long had she been in the apartment?
3 years.
When did she leave?
2 months before this incident.
So she left relatively, maybe in May.
Yeah.
And how much was she paying in rent?
38.
And you agreed with the defendant. You wanted 4. She says 37. I'm not sure I believe her. You finally fixed on 35, correct?
Yes.
Which is, according to you, $300 less than you were getting from your previous tenant.
Correct.
Who had been there. Well, that was nice of you, $3,500. And you were supposed to provide him with security deposit. How much?
$3,500. So the total would have been $6,000.
I'm going to do this my way.
Okay, sorry.
You were supposed to provide him with security deposit when you saw the apartment in July, because now you are, if you want to take the apartment, you want him to stop showing the apartment.
This is before I got to LA, yes.
You went to see the apartment for the first time in June.
Yes.
And in June, you said you'd take it.
Correct.
So you clearly wanted him to stop showing the apartment to other people.
We were done, yes.
Great. And how much money did you give him in June then?
And I have the text messages.
That's a number, just a second. Well, that's a number.
In June, I gave him nothing.
So in June, you gave him nothing. June, what did you come looking at the apartment? Because this is what it all comes down. This is what the case all comes down to, so that people aren't wondering out there what this case is all about.
On the evening of June 1st.
I'm speaking.
I thought you asked me the date.
No.
I'm sorry.
This is what the case is all about. In case anybody is wondering what the case is all about, Miss Gangley is suing the defendant for $10,000 because he reneged on an agreement to rent her an apartment. That's what you're suing him for your moving costs and everything else. That's what you're suing for.
Correct.
You saw the apartment June 1st. You gave him no money.
Correct.
You signed no lease.
Correct.
You were moving into the apartment on what date?
July 15th.
Between June 1st and July 15th, how much money had you sent him?
$1,000.
On what date?
The date that I sent the money was 2 days after he requested it, and it was July 12th was one.
Well, usually when you go and see an apartment, Miss Gangley, and you're not a child.
Correct.
I haven't rented an apartment in a long time, but I have a pretty fixed memory. You go and look at an apartment, you say, I like it. You go with the person who was renting the apartment, you sign a lease, you give them a check, you give them the date when the lease is going to be signed, and then you have a signed lease, and he has his security deposit, first month's rent. Sometimes they require last month's rent. In this case, what were you supposed to give him? A month's rent and how much security?
May I just talk from the beginning?
No.
Okay. Well, we didn't speak on...
Just a second. You came and looked at the apartment, and because he was a friend of a friend...
We talked only about the rent.
Of a friend of a friend of a friend, you gave him no money, and you asked him, you expected him to take his apartment out of circulation until you got there on July 15th, even though he gave you a rent that was less than what he was getting from his previous tenant. That's a pretty good deal. I asked you for a number. How much money were you supposed to give him for the apartment? How much security?
He requested zero security deposit when I met him. He told me in July a $3,000 security deposit.
$3,000 and your month's rent.
Correct.
Which was $3,500.
Correct.
So $6,500 altogether, and you had already given him $1,000.
Correct.
So you owed him $5,500 that he agreed, nice guy, so far, really nice guy, gave you a cheaper rent than what was the going rate. That you understood because you moved into Beverly Hills. He was giving you less rent than what he was getting from his former tenant. He held the apartment for you for 6 weeks for no money. $1,000. No money. By the way, he gave just a second. He gave you the $1,000 back, by the way.
Yes.
Did you cash that check?
Yes, I did.
Well, then you're one and done.
Caption coming up.
When you went to Wells Fargo and got the check for $5,000, you went there knowing that you owed him $5,500.
Correct.
Miss Gangley, you're a hustler.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Kathleen and Ellie.
Kathleen Ganley, claims apartment owner Ellie Benarin owes for moving expenses and hotel costs after refusing to rent his apartment after she paid him a deposit.
Now, I'm not finished yet. Then, according to you, you got there with your son from Arizona with a U-Haul and a mover, and you had with you a cashier's check for $5,000. Now, when did you get that cashier's check for $5,000?
July 14th.
Where did you get the cashier's check for $5,000?
Wells Fargo in Arizona.
Is that where you have your bank account?
Yes, it is.
And when you went to Wells Fargo and got the check for $5,000, you went there knowing that you owed him $5,500.
Correct.
Your excuse for that is that you were going to pay him the rest by some Zelle account.
Which is how he had requested it.
No. Show me how he requested, on July 14th, show me how he requested payment by a Zelle account. I want you, That's a simple.
He didn't request it on July 14th.
Simple.
He didn't request it then.
Miss Gangley, listen, you're a hustler.
No, ma'am,
You're a
I'm
hustler.
not.
You're a hustler.
No.
What you could have done very easily was the day before you were there, you got there on July 14th, when you went to Wells Fargo and got a cashier's check, you get a cashier's check for $5,500. That is as good as cash. Like that. Instead, you talked him down with the rent, little bit.
May
You
I show
owed him.
you the
You
text?
owed him. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. You owed him. It's his apartment. He wants to rent it. He is in a position of wanting to rent his commodity. He had somebody who was ready, willing, and able, he thought, to rent that commodity. It's not that he had somebody else in the wings to rent your apartment. He was renting his apartment to you. You were, in my view, trying to get away with the $500 then. At that moment.
Why would I drive a U-Haul and pay all that money there to try to save $500? I would love to show you.
I would love to see, Kevin, I would love to see that on or about July 14th, he said to you, give me a cashier's check for $5,000 and pay the rest by Zelle, by some other commodity. It doesn't make sense.
This is the date.
What's the date?
That he requested the deposit.
No. What's the date when he told you?
July 6th is when he requested the deposit.
Just
by Zelle.
Just a second. July 6th, he requested the deposit by Zelle. Did you send it?
Zelle only allows
No, don't tell.
I sent the max possible on a day. Zelle only allows you to spend $500.
Who gives a rat's behind what they said to you? Just like you went into Wells Fargo on the 14th of July, just like you went into Wells Fargo on the 14th of July, on July 6th, when he sends you, please send me the deposit, you go into Wells Fargo, you get a money order, a bank check, you put it in a FedEx, and you send it to him. You saw the apartment June 1st. July 6th, he said, all right, time to get off the dime. I'm holding the apartment. It's now a month. Please send me the deposit. So you say, I'll give him $1,000. I'll give him $500. That's what he's asking for. But then July 14th, when you went there, you were still $500. I'm not interested in looking at anything except that he said to you, when you got there July 15th, give me a cashier's check and a Zelle payment for $500. That's what you decided to do.
I sent him a text and he responded with an emoji of thumbs up. He responded to the text saying,
you're a hustler, madam.
I'm not a hustler.
And you are not getting $10,000 from this man.
And you won't look at the evidence?
I'm absolutely going to look at the evidence. I'm telling you that you're a hustler.
Okay, well, here's the
I'm
evidence.
telling you you're a hustler.
Well,
because
you're wrong, sir.
I'm telling
Ma'am, I'm
you,
sorry.
Kevin, you can get it. I'm telling you you're a hustler.
Please show her that.
Because on July 14th, when you went to Wells Fargo, I, as a normal person, knowing that he wanted a deposit on July 6th, I said, you know what? I'm going all the way there. I'm packing up my son. I'm packing up my U-Haul. Wells Fargo is where I do my banking. They also have Wells Fargo here. So you didn't take out your last dollar. I'm going to get a bank check so he knows he has the money, because now he's been waiting for it for 6 weeks. And I'm going to give him a bank check for $5,500 because that's what I owe him. You didn't do that. You gave him $5,000. And I have to say to myself, why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's like saying, I have $5,000 in cash, and I'm going to give you $5,000 in cash, and I'm going to give you $500 in a note that I'm not getting right then and there, but I'm going to move my things into the apartment, and then I'm there. And then when I have the other $500, I'm going to give you the other $500. And in addition, when he said, listen, if this is the way I'm going to do business with you, you gave me $5,000 in a cashier's check, it's $500 short. I don't want to start with a tenant like this right away.
No, that's why we agreed to it ahead of time.
Here's your $1,000 back that you gave me. You took the check and you cashed it. And that was
Judy makes a hand-washing motion.
finished. He said, I don't want you as a tenant. You have a signed lease by both of you?
I have a signed, no.
Yep, so you have no lease. So, you see, if you're in Arizona and you want to send him his deposit that he wants over, and people do that all the time. They buy property in the mail, they buy property over email, They have DocuSign. You can do all that between June 1st and July 15th. You chose not to do that.
Caption coming up.
You're not entitled to any money.
That's not true.
He's not responsible for your having to find another apartment which cost you more money. You're a grown woman. And if you saw an apartment that was a bargain, you hop on it.
Kathleen lowers her eyes. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Kathleen and Ellie.
Kathleen Ganley has accused apartment owner Ellie Bonarin of refusing to rent his apartment after she paid a deposit. Ellie says he changed his mind and refunded her deposit.
Now, on what date did he send you the lease?
He sent me...
Just a second. I'm going to go to you. On what date did you send her the lease?
July 10th.
You sent her the lease on July 10th?
10th.
Did you send it by email?
By email, and I told her to respond with the sign the lease and send it back. At least I acknowledged she got the lease. I didn't hear from her.
You have the text there.
Can I see the email that you sent her with the lease? Do you have it with you?
I have it on my phone. Can I pull it off with my phone?
Yes.
Ellie produces his phone.
So when you got the lease, you changed it.
I made an edit, as I said in the text to him there.
So you changed it
Yes.
and initialed it?
Yes. And he didn't send it on July 10th.
When did he send it?
I gave him my email on July 13th.
Sorry, apologize to the right 13. Yes. Here is the email, here is the text, and I'll open it for you.
He hands his phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews the email.
In the evening, the day before we were loading to move.
And I wrote, please acknowledge receiving it. Never heard from her.
We spoke on the phone, sir.
You're not entitled to any money.
That's not true.
Well, I'm telling you that you're not entitled to any money.
But you haven't heard my story or seen the evidence.
What I'm telling you, madam, is the following. You have no lease to his apartment.
We had a verbal contract.
No, you had no lease to his apartment, and you accepted in satisfaction of having no lease $1,000, which is what you gave him, and you cashed it. And he's not responsible for your having to find another apartment which cost you more money. You had a responsibility. You're a grown woman. And if you saw an apartment that was a bargain, you hop on it. Say, I want my lease. I want to sign it. I want to give you the money that right now for it, so I know it's mine and I know it's held. That's what you do as a grown-up. You didn't do that. You had the perfect opportunity to get a cashier's check for $5,500 the day before you went there. And you didn't. And you modified the lease before he signed it. So you had no lease. You had no written lease when there was supposed to be a written lease. This wasn't a verbal month-to-month tenancy. This was not a verbal month-to-month tenancy.
No, it was not.
Right.
It was a 12-month lease.
That's a lease for a year or more has to be in writing. And I'm telling you, you did not have a written lease with him, and you failed to fulfill the terms of the lease by not bringing a sufficient amount of money with you. Your case is dismissed.
No, ma'am.
We are done.
No.
Court is adjourned.
We
We
are
are
humor me
done.
to hear the story, please.
We are done.
No, I'm not going
done.
to do that.
Oh, yeah,
No.
you are.
Well, then there's a breach of
phone,
contract,
yeah,
right?
my phone.
Because you told me you were going to hear the case.
I heard my
You
case.
did not hear.
Ma'am,
No, I won't go. No,
The case is over.
I'm not going.
The case is over.
Actually, I never got to speak. I'm not going. Well, I was very disappointed that I didn't get to explain the sequence of events.
I think she made the right decision. Judge Judy knows what she's saying.
So I'm extremely disappointed with her decision there.
When people born, they're a gift to the world. She was the opposite.
We started communicating again in July. I reached out to him.
She tried to get in with no money and not to pay the rent, I was assuming.
The deposit was not requested until the amount was never mentioned until the 10th of July.
The straw that broke the camel's back, the $500, she did a mistake.
I don't think he changed his mind. We hadn't talked about it.
No, she say, here is 5,000 and I'll give you later another 500. And I said, I'm not accepting later 500.
We have a chain of communications. He knew I was coming.
She is a hustler.
Sarah.
So I'm just curious, would you have felt any different about the plaintiff being a hustler if she had not cashed that $1,000 check that he had refunded her for what she had paid towards her deposit?
I would still have thought that she was a hustler, but accepting the check back from him, I mean, if the check was given to secure, her argument, it was given to secure the apartment, even though it wasn't. the full amount that was necessary that he asked for at the beginning of July, and she ignored him. But since she took the check and cashed the check, that says to me, his obligation to her is finished. The fact that she had to go and find another apartment could have been very easily rectified. This is a man, he's a landlord. He has a commodity from which he makes money, which probably costs him maintenance and taxes that he has to pay for every month that the apartment lays fallow. He agreed, because of a friendship with a mutual friend, to rent this woman an apartment for less than its going rate.
Yeah.
And he held it for a month.
For no money.
Really, for no money. She got the lease. She made an alteration on the lease. She never sent it back. She never acknowledged that she had it. The day before she left Arizona, she went to the bank knowing that she owes him $5,500. And she took out a check for $5,000.
Weird.
And paid for a check for $5,000. You know, I've been in this business and heard these landlord and tenant things long enough to know, once she moved her things into that apartment, that $500 security deposit,
gone.
He was never going to see. He might have hounded her for it for a couple of months, and then he would have said, forget about it. And she knew that. She knew that. That's what makes her a hustler. That check for $5,000, that cashier's check, instead of $5,500, says to me, hustler.
There.
And the icing on the cake is, he said, listen, I don't want you as a tenant in a place that I really want to rent. And you're here. And all your stuff is here. So it's very easy for me to let you move in. But I know, I'm a smart man. If I take this $5,000, I'm going to have trouble with you ongoing. Complaints. Rent. More complaints. What do I need this for? Here's your $1,000. I take it. I cash it. Go find a motel. Stay in it until you find an apartment. You're probably not going to find an apartment in Beverly Hills for $3,500. That's a 2-bedroom apartment, which is what he had. So when you do the wrong thing, courts aren't going to stand up for you. She did the wrong thing. He did the right thing, I think.
Perfect. 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 Perfect.